Good morning to one and all present here. It is the undying tradition of our Honorable Founder, Sir, to invoke the Almighty for His blessings by lighting the auspicious lamp before the start of any event. So may I request all the dignitaries to kindly light the lamp to mark the beginning of this event. May this event be yet another successful one by God's grace. May I now request our Honorable Founder, Sir, and Vice Chancellor, Ma'am, to kindly felicitate our guests with a token of our gratitude. Sir, Ma'am, please. A very good morning to one and all present here once again. Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, esteemed principals and faculty members of various institutions present here, and respected principals, faculty and staff members of our university. I, Assistant Professor Lipsa Subhadarshini, on behalf of Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, deemed to be university, extend my cordial welcome to this one-day seminar on relevant education for building a sustainable society, which is a joint venture of World Leadership Academy and Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, deemed to be university. To begin with, we have with us today Professor Dr. Jayant Kumar Parida, the Director of KIIT School of Social, Financial and Human Sciences and the Executive Member of WLA. Professor Jayant Kumar Parida retired after serving for more than 38 years in the field of academics from PG Department of Commerce, Utkal University, as a senior professor, head, and the dean. He is presently serving as the director of KIIT School of Social, Financial, and Human Sciences. May I now request Professor Jayant Kumar Parida to kindly deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
सम्मानास्पद आज एक दिवसीय सम्मेलन सभापति तथा किट किस विश्वविद्यालय प्राण प्रतिष्ठाता और वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी अवैनैतिक सभापति प्रोफेसर अच्युत सामंत महोदय, मंचासीन शिक्षा जगतर मंग धरी कुलपतिगण, सारा राज्यर कोण अनुकोणरू आसीथिबा अध्यक्ष सहकर्मी सहयोगी और सहभागी बंधुगण सम्माननीय किट विश्वविद्यालय कुलपति प्रोफेसर सस्मिता सामंत महोदय किट पई आज गर्व और गौरवर विषय जहाँकि किट इतिहास चिर स्मरणीय हो रही कारण ओडिशा शिक्षा जगतर भाग्य विधाता माने आज एठारे उपस्थित 7 जन कुलपति अवश्य 2 जन ए पर्यंत आसीपारी नाहंती एवं सेमाने तांकर सम्मत प्रदान करथिले एवं 286 कॉलेजर अध्यक्ष एवं वरिष्ठ शिक्षक माने उपस्थित होइछन्ति एवं आज ये जो एक दिवसीय सम्मेलन करा जायछि तार विषय वस्तु रखा जायछि सांप्रतिक परिस्थिति रे शिक्षार गुरुत्व उपर आलोचना करा जिवाकू एवं मु किट विश्वविद्यालय तरफरु वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी तरफरु एवं मो तरफरु आपण मानकु समस्त को स्वागत करुछि यही एक दिवसीय सम्मेलन रो उद्घाटन उत्सव रे अरे उत्सव रे फाउंडेशन सॉरी मो पुणी मोर कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करुछि सही वाइस चांसलर मानकु एवं अध्यक्ष मानकु जो माने सेमानकर बहुमूल्य समय नष्ट करी बहु दूररू प्राय ओडिशार समस्त भागरू एठी आसी उपस्थित होइछन्ति एवं प्रोफेसर नागराजु फ्रॉम जीएम यूनिवर्सिटी संबलपुर प्रोफेसर पीके महांती फ्रॉम खलिकोट यूनिवर्सिटी बरहमपुर प्रोफेसर हरिहर होता वाइस चांसलर संस्कृत यूनिवर्सिटी पुरी प्रोफेसर ए.के. दास महापात्र वाइस चांसलर ओपन ओडिशा ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी प्रोफेसर दीपक बेहरा वाइस चांसलर KIIT यूनिवर्सिटी of course Professor Bemkesha Tripathi from University of the Culture and Professor Sanjay Naik Vice Chancellor of the Ravenshaw University सेमाने ए पर्यंत पहुंची पारि नांती किट एक शिशु अनुष्ठान यार प्रतिष्ठाता होचंती आमर पूज्य श्रीजुक्त अच्युत सामंत यह तांकर मानस संतान किंतु यही स्वल्प समय भितर निजर गुणवत्तार परिचय दे NAC, NIRF, टाइम्स हायर एजुकेशन रैंकिंग भली जातीय अंतर्जातीय स्तर में सम्मानित हो आसी यह संभव होइछि सही साधारण मनुष्यर असाधारण व्यक्तित्व पराकाष्ठा धर्म कर्म और मानसिकता पाई ओडिशार किट आज ओडिशार एक माइल खुंट हो जाइछि एवं भारतर श्रेष्ठ यूनिवर्सिटी भितर मध्य स्थान पाई यूनिवर्सिटी ऑफ एक्सेलेंस जदि प्रोफेसर सामंत विषय कहवाकू दुई पद कहवा निश्चिंत बाहुल्य हेब जे दारिद्र्यर कषाघात जर्जरित जीवन को अति निकटर निरगी आम प्रतिष्ठाता जीवनर शिक्षार महत्वपूर्ण को भूमिका को उपलब्धि करी यह सार्वजनीन और सहज सुलभ करने को प्रयासरत शिक्षा जीवन को समन्वित एवं समृद्ध कर सफल सोपान जहाँकि उच्च शिक्षा को देशर कोण और अनुकोण एक नूतन सोपान उपनीत कराई पारिछंती से होचंती श्रीजुक्त प्रोफेसर अच्युत सामंत तथापि आज मध्य से चेष्टारत आज कहवा आपण मान को सूचाई देवा चाहे जे आज आम फाउंडर सार गोटे गुरुत्वपूर्ण मीटिंग अच्छे जो गवर्नर जावाकू अच्छा एवं सी उपस्थित रे किंतु से जिते शुणिले जे 500 शिक्षक अध्यापक अध्यक्ष वाइस चांसलर माने एठिकी आसुचंती से ताको डिले करी एठिकी आसीचंती आपण मानको भेटिया को यह होची तांकर तेणु यह ही तांकर व्यक्तित्व से साधारण व्यक्तित्व ऊर्ध्व को जाई निजको एक अनुष्ठान रे परिणत कर दी से हेले आमर फाउंडर श्रीजुक्त अच्युत सामंत। सम्माननीय कुलपति प्रोफेसर सस्मिता सामंत मैडम सर्वगुण संपन्न, शी इज वेरी innovative in her approach, very grounded and proved to be one of the best academician, academic leader and administrator as well as entrepreneur. ये जो वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी आज जहाँ आम ये एकत्रित होती मानस संतान। यही जो वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी कर जो महत आकांक्षा होता से हूँ ओडिशा राज्य ओडिशार हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशन माने रिसर्च रे बहुत पछरे अछंती। प्राय रिसर्च कहले किछि यूनिवर्सिटी के छाड़िले कॉलेज लेवल माने करे प्राय जीरो। तेणु ताकू सहजरे उपलब्ध करबा पाई एवं ताकू बढ़ाइबा पाई एई वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी को से सृष्टि करिसेंते, जहा कि आपण माने जानिथिबे जे आज आपण मानकू बहुत प्रकार यही वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी तरफ आपण मानकू सुविधा जोगाई दिया जिवो। यथा प्रथम कथा हला लाइब्रेरी, आपण ऑनलाइन लाइब्रेरी आपण वर्तमान यूज करेंगे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट, जोटा कि प्राय 5 ରୁ 7 लाख टंका पड़ी थाए। आज आम किट तरफ मागणारे जो कॉलेज माने उपस्थित अच्छा आम जोगे देवु एवं समस्त चेष्टा करूँ जे कॉलेज मानक ये जो रिसर्च रे उत्कर्षता बजाय रखा। द्वितीय आम ओडिशा रे ए पर्यंत जदिओ 700 केते कॉलेज अच्छी समुदाय 100 केतोटी कॉलेज न्याक एक्रेडिटेशन होती एवं न होबार कारण बहुत अनेक किछि अच्छी। तथापि किट आज को 2 वर्ष धरी बिना माने मागणारे कहिया गले मागणारे आपण मानक कॉलेज यूनिवर्सिटी मानक मागणारे न्याक सहायता जोगे देउछि। एई न्याक सहायता आम कष्ट आम मूल्य आम पैसा आम जाई आपण मानक कॉलेज रे माने आपन केमिति न्याक करिवे, जदि न्याक हेछि केमिति भल ग्रेड पाइबे सेथिक मध्य आमे चेष्टारत एवं एवं से जो न्याक मध्य सेथि पई यूजीसी मध्य आम मैडम को ब्रांड एम्बेसडर न्याक एक्रेडिटेशन बिली तांको अधिष्ठित करिसेंति। तेणु आज आपण माने आसंतु आम सहित सहयोग करंतु। आज मध्य पुणी आमे प्राय 50टा कॉलेज सहित आमे मेमोरांडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग करिछु। आज मध्य आमे प्राय 20टी कॉलेज सहित मेमोरांडम ऑफ अंडरस्टैंडिंग करिवु। आर मूल लक्ष्य हला आपण माने जो कॉलेज माने चाहती मध्य करि परिबे बिना मूल्य रे किट यूनिवर्सिटी आपण मानकू लाइब्रेरी लैब न्याक एवं ये जो ई लाइब्रेरी समस्त सुविधा जोगे दब। जो माने आपण माने चाहती जो प्रिंसिपल माने चाहती ताकू मध्य आज मध्य आपण ना देले परे मध्य जदि हबो कर देबो। किंतु आज मध्य प्राय 15 ରୁ 20 कॉलेज आज एई एमओयू करिवे। सेति पई एई तिमे हम डाकिछु। तेणु आशा करछु आपण माने यार सदुपयोग करिवे एवं हमको सहाय हेबे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you so much, sir, for an earnest welcome address. Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta, Honorable Founder of KIIT and KIIT Deemed to be University and the Honorary Chairperson of WLA, is an illustrious educationist. Sir, it would be a great honor to listen to you today. Sir, please.
तेणु समस्त को आपण मानक बहुत बहुत नमस्कार प्रणाम एवं शुभ सकाळ। आज जो एठारे एक दिनिया एक जातीय स्तर सेमिनार टी आयोजित होईची वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी तरफ एवं किट तरफ। तेणु आपण माने समस्ते एठारे ओडिशा राज्यर विभिन्न अणकोणरू उपस्थित अछंती। मंचासीन होईचंती आम मानक गणरे विशिष्ट शिक्षाविद एवं मान्यवर कुलपति माने तेणु से माने हेले सम्मानस्पद कुलपति प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर एन नागराजु साहेब जे कि वाइस चांसलर गंगाधर मेर यूनिवर्सिटी संबलपुर अछंती सेहीपरि सम्मानस्पद कुलपति प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर प्रफुल्ल कुमार महांती साहेब जे कि वाइस चांसलर खलिकोट यूनिवर्सिटी ब्रह्मपुर मध्य मंचासीन अछंती एवं सेहीपरि सम्मानस्पद कुलपति प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर हरिहर होता महोदय जे कि वाइस चांसलर श्री जगन्नाथ संस्कृत विश्वविद्यालय पुरी मध्य मंचासीन अछंती एवं मोर बंधु क्लासमेट प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर अर्क कुमार दास महापात्र जे कि वाइस चांसलर ओडिशा ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी संबलपुर मध्य मंचासीन होती एवं आपण माने समस्ते बहुत खुशी हेबे आनंदित हेबे कहीं ना आपण माने जोठी जाती माने जो विश्वविद्यालय को जिबे विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालय भारत वर्ष रे जाउथिबे ओडिशा रे जाउथिबे इवन भारत बाहर भी किसी लोक विश्वविद्यालय को जाइथिबे सब आपण माने शिक्षाविद माने ना नहीं महादेव बाबू आपण माने जोठी जिबे गोटे विश्वविद्यालय स्वाद पाइबे ए गोटे जगह भारत वर्ष रे दीटी विश्वविद्यालय माटी रे आपण माने बसिचंती दीटी विश्वविद्यालय पाखापाखि गोटे विश्वविद्यालय जे कि प्रकृत रे भारत रे प्रसिद्ध लाभ करिछि पृथ्वी रे मध्य परिचय सृष्टि करिछि कीट विश्वविद्यालय तार कुलपति बसंती डॉक्टर सस्मिता सामंत आउ गोटे विश्वविद्यालय जे कि किस ब्यूटी ऑफ द एंटायर वर्ल्ड प्राइड ऑफ ओडिशा एंड इंडिया तेणु तार मध्य कुलपति बसंती प्रोफेसर दीपक कुमार बेहरा महोदय एवं सभाटी को परिचालना करचंती बहुत भल भाव में आपण मानक निमंत्रण जनइचंती एवं प्राय समस्त को 4-5 थर फोन करचंती से बा तांको लोक ना नहीं भाई 4-5 थर किट तरफ आजिका सभा पाई फोन करचंती से हेले आउ के नुह बाणी बिहार प्रोफेसर जयंत कुमार परिडा बा वर्तमान किट रो डायरेक्टर अछंती प्रोफेसर जयंत कुमार परिडा तेणु एवं एठारे उपस्थित समस्ते मोर सम्मानस्पद विभिन्न प्रिंसिपाल अध्यक्ष अध्यक्षा एवं जो माने विभिन्न विद्यालय विश्वविद्यालय मध्य आसीचंती अध्यापक अध्यापिका माने विशेषतः अध्यक्ष अध्यापिका माने जो माने समस्ते विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालय महाविद्यालय ओडिशार विभिन्न अणकोणरू 300 पाखापाखि महाविद्यालय आपण मैंने आसचंती आपण मैंने समस्त को मध्य बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करुच्ची नमस्कार करुच्ची एवं किट किसर प्रतिष्ठाता हिसाब रे एवं ऑनररी चेयरमैन जो वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी आउ थे मध्य मु मंचासीन समस्त कुलपति मानक कृतज्ञतार सहित स्वागत करुच्ची एवं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दौची जे आपण मैंने एते समय काढ़ी एते गरम ठंडारे किए ब्रह्मपुर किए संबलपुर किए पुरी सब आसीचंती आम समस्त को उत्साहित करती मोर भाषा नहीं आपण मानक कृतज्ञतार सहित धन्यवाद देवाई मु व्यक्तिगत रूप में आपण मानक धन्यवाद दौची सेपरि आपण माने जो माने आछंती विभिन्न कॉलेज रो अध्यक्ष अध्यक्षा माने बा प्राध्यापक प्राध्यापिका जो माने समस्त आसीचंती आपण मानक बहुत बहुत मु कृतज्ञता जनाऊची धन्यवाद जनाऊची एथि पई आपण माने समस्ते एते संख्या रे आसीचंती जोटा मो पई आम पई किट पई किस पई एक नुआ जिनस एथि पई कहूची आपण माने सब बेले मीडिया रु देखुथिबे 365 दिन ने अति कम रे 1500 फंक्शन हुए किट किस रे जातीय अंतर्जातीय कौन सी गोटे दिन नहीं 3-4टा फंक्शन नथिबा एठी विभिन्न ऑडिटोरियम रे किंतु आपण मान परिका एक फंक्शन ही नथले आज पर्यंत सेटा होची मते बहुत व्यक्तिगत रूपे आनंद दउची मु बहुत खुशी होची आपण मान को विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालय हो बा महाविद्यालय हो आपण माने विभिन्न अणकोण रे खरा गरम रे मध्य आसीचंती काहे खुशी लागुची एकाडेमिशियन तो पृथ्वी समस्ते टिके आसुचंती आमे मिसुचु तेणु आपण मान को देखिले अच्युत सामंत को एइथि खुशी लगुच अच्युत सामंत भी आपण मान परिका एहिपरि दिन अध्यापक हिसाब रे निजर जीवन प्रणाली आरंभ करथले एहिपरि जने लेक्चरर हिसाब रे निजर जीवन शैली बा निजर କାର୍ଯ୍ୟକ୍ରମ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଥିଲା ଅଚ୍ୟୁତ ସାମନ୍ତ। ଆପଣମାନେ ଯେମିତି ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ଅଧ୍ୟାପିକା ଅଛନ୍ତି, ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପାଲ ହେଇଛନ୍ତି, ମୁଁ ବି ଯଦି ସେ ଲେକ୍ଚରସିପ୍ରେ କଣ୍ଟିନ୍ୟୁ କରିଥାନ୍ତି ମୁଁ ବି ଆଜି ଖଣ୍ଡେ ଖଣ୍ଡେ ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପାଲ ହେଇକି ବସିଥାନ୍ତି। କିନ୍ତୁ ଭାଗ୍ୟର ବିଡ଼ମ୍ବନା, ନିଶ୍ଚିତ ଭାଗ୍ୟ ଫଳତି ସର୍ବତ୍ର ନ ବିଦ୍ୟା ନଚ ପୌରୁଷୋତ୍ତମ ଯେଉଁ କହନ୍ତି, ଭାଗ୍ୟରେ ଯାହା ଅଛି ସେଟା ଯେମିତି ହେଲେ ଫଳିବ। ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିକିରି ମୋତେ ଏତେ ଆନନ୍ଦ, ଏତେ ଖୁସି ଲାଗୁଛି। ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ ଦେବି ସସ୍ମିତା ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମକୁ, ସେ ଏତେ ସୁନ୍ଦର ଭାବରେ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ଲିଡରସିପ୍ ଏକାଡେମୀ ତରଫରୁ ଆପଣମାନ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ଇନଭାଇଟ୍ କରିଛନ୍ତି। ଆପଣମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଏତେ ସଂଖ୍ୟାରେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି। ଆଜିକା ଦିନଟା ମୋର ସବୁଠୁ ସକ୍ସେସଫୁଲ୍ ହେଇଛି ଏବଂ ଆଜି ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ମୁଁ ଯେତେ ସେମିନାର ୱାର୍କସପ୍ ଏଠି ଆନ୍ତର୍ଜାତିକ ସ୍ତରର କରୁଥିଲି, ଆଜିର ସେମିନାର ୱାର୍କସପ୍ ହେଉଛି ସର୍ବୋତ୍କୃଷ୍ଟ, ସବୁଠୁ ଉଚ୍ଚମାନର। କାହିଁକିନା ମୁଁ ଦିନେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଏହିପରି ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ଜୀବନଯାପନ କରିଥିଲି। ଅଧ୍ୟାପକ ହିସାବରେ ମୋର କ୍ୟାରିୟର ଆରମ୍ଭ କରିଥିଲି ବାଣୀବିହାରରୁ କେମିଷ୍ଟ୍ରି ପାସ୍ କଲା ପରେ ଜଳେଶ୍ୱର କଲେଜରେ ଲେକ୍ଚରସିପ୍ କଲି ପ୍ରଥମେ 3 ବର୍ଷ, 87ରୁ 90, 90 ପରେ ଆସିକି ମହର୍ଷି କଲେଜରେ ଯୋଗ ଦେଲି। ତାପରେ ଯାହା ହେଇଛି ସେଟା ଇତିହାସ, ସାରା ପୃଥିବୀ ଲୋକ ତାପରେ ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରୁଛନ୍ତି। ଆପଣମାନ ପରୀକ୍ଷା ମୋର ବନ୍ଧୁ ଡକ୍ଟର ଶଶାଙ୍କ ଚୂଡ଼ାମଣି ବସିଛନ୍ତି, ମହର୍ଷି କଲେଜ କ୍ୟାରିୟରଠୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରି ଏପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ ସେ ଅଛନ୍ତି, କିନ୍ତୁ ମୁଁ ଏଠି ଅଛି। ମୋ ସହିତ ପୁରା ସେ ଯୋଡ଼ି ହେଇ ରହିଛନ୍ତି। ଆମର ଶଙ୍କରପଡ଼ା ମହୋଦୟ ମଧ୍ୟ ମୋର ପରମ ବନ୍ଧୁ, ସେ ମଧ୍ୟ ଆଜି ଆସିଛନ୍ତି। ତାଙ୍କ ମିସେସ୍ ଯେହେତୁ ଏଠି ଅଧ୍ୟକ୍ଷ ହିସାବରେ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି। ଯାହା ହଉ, ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ମୋର କହିବା କଥା ଯେ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ଦେଖିକିରି ସେଥିପାଇଁ ମୋତେ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି ଲାଗୁଛି। ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତିଗତ ରୂପେ କିଟ୍ କିସ୍ ପରିବାର ତରଫରୁ ବହୁତ ବହୁତ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ସ୍ୱାଗତ କରୁଛି ଏବଂ ଧନ୍ୟବାଦ କୃତଜ୍ଞତା ଜଣାଉଛି। ଏବଂ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କୁ ଜଗନ୍ନାଥ ମହାପ୍ରଭୁ ମଙ୍ଗଳ କରନ୍ତୁ, ଆଶୀର୍ବାଦ କରନ୍ତୁ। ଆପଣମାନେ ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କ କାର୍ଯ୍ୟରେ ଲାଗି ରୁହନ୍ତୁ। ତାପରେ ଏଇ ଯେଉଁ ଆଜି ୱାର୍ଲଡ ଲିଡରସିପ୍ ଏକାଡେମୀ ତରଫରୁ ଆଜି ଗୋଟେ 1 ଡେ ସେମିନାର ଦେଖୁଛି ହେଇଛି, ରେଲିଭାଣ୍ଟ ଏଜୁକେସନ୍ ଫର୍ ବିଲ୍ଡିଂ ସଷ୍ଟେନେବୁଲ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି। ତେଣୁ ଏଠି ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ଖୁସି, ବହୁତ ଜଣ ଭିସି ବସିଛନ୍ତି। ଆଜି ଦିନ ଯାକ ପ୍ୟାନେଲ ଡିସ୍କସନ୍ ଅଛି। କିଛି କିଛି ଶିକ୍ଷାବିତ୍ ମାନେ ସବୁ ତାଙ୍କର ମତ ବ୍ୟକ୍ତ କରିବେ ଏବଂ ଆପଣମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ଯେହେତୁ ଶିକ୍ଷା ଜଗତରେ ଯୋଡ଼ି ହେଇଛନ୍ତି, ଶିକ୍ଷା ଜଗତରେ ହିଁ ବଢ଼ୁଛନ୍ତି, ସବୁ କିଛି କରୁଛନ୍ତି, ଆପଣମାନେ ସମସ୍ତେ ମୋଠୁ ଅଧିକା ଏଥିରେ ସବୁ ବିଷୟରେ ଜାଣିଛନ୍ତି, ଶିକ୍ଷା ବିଷୟରେ। ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ ଯେମିତି କହନ୍ତି ମାମୁଁ ଘର କଥା ମାଆଙ୍କ ଆଗରେ କହିବା ଧୃଷ୍ଟତା ହେବ, ଆପଣମାନଙ୍କ ପାଖରେ କିଛି ଶିକ୍ଷା ଉପରେ କହିବାଟା ମୋର କିଛି ଉଚିତ ମନେ କରୁନି। ସସ୍ମିତା ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ ଯୋଉଥିପାଇଁ ଡାକିଛନ୍ତି ସେ କହିବେ କ'ଣ ପାଇଁ ଡାକିଛନ୍ତି, କ'ଣ ସବୁ କରିବେ ୱାର୍ଲଡ ଲିଡରସିପ୍ ଏକାଡେମୀ ତରଫରୁ। ତେଣୁ ମୁଁ ବିଶେଷ ତା ଉପରେ କିଛି ଆଲୋକପାତ କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁନି ବିଶେଷ, ରାଦର ମୁଁ ଅଲଗା କିଛି 2-4 ପଦ କହିକିରି ରଖିବା ପାଇଁ ମଧ୍ୟ ଚାହୁଁଛି। ତେଣୁ ଖୁସି ଲାଗୁଛି ଯେ ଭଲ ଜିନିଷଟା ଆଜି ଏଠି ରଖିଛନ୍ତି, ରେଲିଭାଣ୍ଟ ଏଜୁକେସନ୍ ଫର୍ ବିଲ୍ଡିଂ ସଷ୍ଟେନେବୁଲ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି ଏଟସେଟ୍ରା। ଆପଣ ଦେଖନ୍ତୁ ଏ ଯେଉଁ ଜିନିଷଟି ଭଲ ଥିମ୍ଟି ରଖା ହେଇଛି, ଆମେ ଯାହା କରୁଛୁ ସେଟା ସମ୍ପୂର୍ଣ୍ଣ ପ୍ରମାଣ କରୁଛି ଯେ ସଷ୍ଟେନେବୁଲ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି କେମିତି ଆମେ ଗଢ଼ିବା ପାଇଁ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛୁ। କିଟ୍ କି ସେସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଛାଡ଼ି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, ସେ ତ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ ଜିନିଷ, ସେସବୁ ଛାଡ଼ି ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ। ଏଇ ଯେତିକି ମୁଁ ଜୟନ୍ତ ପଡ଼ାଙ୍କ ପାଖରୁ ଶୁଣିଲି, ପ୍ରଫେସର ଜୟନ୍ତ ପଡ଼ା ତାଙ୍କର ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡକ୍ସନରେ କହୁଥିଲେ କିପରି ଭାବରେ କିଟ୍ ଚେଷ୍ଟା କରୁଛି 100ରୁ ଉର୍ଦ୍ଧ୍ୱ କଲେଜକୁ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ହୋଲ୍ଡିଂ କରୁଛି ନାକ୍ ଆକ୍ରିଡେସନ ପାଇଁ ବା ଇମ୍ପ୍ରୁଭମେଣ୍ଟ ଇନ୍ ନାକ୍ ଆକ୍ରିଡେସନ ପାଇଁ। ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ କଥା, ଏଇଟା ଗୋଟେ ବହୁତ ବଡ଼ କଥା ଯେ 100ଟାରୁ ଉର୍ଦ୍ଧ୍ୱ କଲେଜକୁ ହ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡ ହୋଲ୍ଡିଂ କରୁଛି। ତା ଛଡ଼ା ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯୁଗରେ ଯୋଉଟା ବହୁତ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ଦରକାର, ଇ ଲାଇବ୍ରେରୀଠୁ ଆରମ୍ଭ କରି ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ ବିଭିନ୍ନ ସୁବିଧା ସୁଯୋଗ ଆଜିକାଲି, କାହିଁକିନା ମୁଁ ସଦାବେଳେ ସବୁ ଜାଗାରେ କୁହେ ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦି ଏଜ୍ ଅଫ୍ ନଲେଜ, ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦି ଏଜ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଏକ୍ସପୋଜର, ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦି ଏଜ୍ ଅଫ୍ କନେକ୍ଟିଭିଟି। ଆମମାନେ ଆପଣମାନେ ଯେତେବେଳେ ପାଠ ପଢ଼ୁଥିଲେ ଖଣ୍ଡେ ଖଣ୍ଡେ ସାର୍ଟିଫିକେଟ୍, ଖଣ୍ଡେ କାଗଜ ମିଳୁଥିଲା ଏବଂ ସେ ସାର୍ଟିଫିକେଟରେ ଯଦି କିଏ ଦେଖିଲା 60% ଅଛି, ଆମମାନଙ୍କୁ ମୁଣ୍ଡରେ ବସେଇକି ବୁଲୁଥିଲେ। ସେ ଯୁଗ ପଳେଇଲାଣି। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ହେଉଛି ନଲେଜ ସୋସାଇଟି, ଆଉ ସାର୍ଟିଫିକେଟ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି ନୁହଁ। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ହେଉଛି କେଉଁ ମାଷ୍ଟର କେତେ ନଲେଜ ଅଛି, କେଉଁ ପିଲାର କେତେ ନଲେଜ ଅଛି, ନଲେଜ ସୋସାଇଟି। ଦିସ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଦି ଏକ୍ସପୋଜର ସୋସାଇଟି। ଯିଏ ଯେତେ ଏକ୍ସପୋଜ ସେ ସେତେ ସେଲେବୁଲ୍ ମାର୍କେଟରେ। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଯୁଗରେ ମୁଁ କୁହେ ଗୋଟାଏ ପିଲା ବାଣପୁର କଲେଜରେ ପଢୁଛି କି ଆଉ କେଉଁ କଲେଜରେ ପଢୁଛି କି ଦିଲ୍ଲୀ ବମ୍ବେ କଲିକତାରେ ପଢୁଛି, ଡଜ୍ ନଟ୍ ମ୍ୟାଟର। ସେ ପିଲା କେତେ ଏକ୍ସପୋଜର ଅଛି, କନେକ୍ଟେଡ ଅଛି, କ'ଣ ଅଛି, ସେ ପିଲାର ଯାହା ନଲେଜ ଅଛି, ଅଟୋମେଟିକାଲି ସାରା ଭାରତରେ ସେ ମଧ୍ୟ ପ୍ରସ୍ଫୁଟିତ ହେଇପାରିବ। ଅଫକୋର୍ସ ତା ପାଇଁ ନିଶ୍ଚିତ ଭାବରେ ଏନଭାୟରମେଣ୍ଟ, ଆମ୍ବିଆନ୍ସ, ଅନ୍ୟାନ୍ୟ ବହୁତ ଜିନିଷ କିଛି ଦରକାର ଥାଏ, ଏଥିରେ ସନ୍ଦେହ ନାହିଁ। ସେଥିପାଇଁ ବଡ଼ ବଡ଼ କଲେଜକୁ ସମସ୍ତେ ଯିବା ପାଇଁ ପିଲାମାନେ ଆଗ୍ରହ ପ୍ରକାଶ କରିଥାନ୍ତି। ଇଭିନ୍ ଶିକ୍ଷକମାନେ ମଧ୍ୟ ବଡ଼ କଲେଜରେ ଯଦି ଶିକ୍ଷକତା ପାଇବେ କିପରି ଯିବେ ସେଟା ମଧ୍ୟ ସମସ୍ତେ ଆଗ୍ରହ କରିଥାନ୍ତି, ବିକଜ ଅଫ୍ ମେନି ରିଜିନ୍ସ। ଯାହା ହଉ, ଏ ଯେଉଁ ସଷ୍ଟେନେବୁଲ ସୋସାଇଟି को एजुकेशन केमती कौन करुच्ची सब जिनस रही एवं मो मतरे बहुत जिनस तो अच्छी आम जाचु मु जो कही था कि मु रादर मु किट विषय पदे अधे कहीकि मो विषय माने एजुकेशन उपरे जमा विशेष किसी कहबिनी आपण मैंने समस्ते भल कि जानते जे केमती एजुकेशन वर्तमान प्लेज दी वेरी इंपोर्टाट रोल एवं आम समस्ते जाचु जे आग काल अपेक्षा वर्तमान एजुकेशन उपरे गवर्नमेंट माने सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट स्टेट गवर्नमेंट समस्ते टिके प्राधान्य दौरान आकाल एत प्राधान्य दौले कारण आम आकाल एजुकेशन वाज दी लिस्ट प्रायोरीटी थिला से आम भारत वर्ष में देखो एजुकेशन बहुत पछरे पड़ जाइए जोटिकी आम देशर लक्ष 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 पिला जाउछन्ती अमेरिका यूरोप पाठ पढ़िया कहीं एजुकेशन से उन्नत बोली जाऊे निश्चित भाव में एथे सन्देह नहीं तेना आमर एजुकेशन सिस्टम भी जदि आम देखी आसबू गुरुकुल ठू आरंभ कर मुगल समय ब्रिटिश समय मॉडर्न एजुकेशन सेमती एजुकेशन आमर बहुत भल भाव से गढ़ी आसी किंतु आई फील दिस 4 पॉइंट्स एज दि थ्रस्ट एरिया जाको मु व्याख्या करी मु किट विषय कहीकि रखी फर्स्ट पॉइंट मु रखी knowledge based economy will rule the world pen will replace the sword एटा हमें समस्ते बुझी पारछु मोर बुझीबा दरकार नहीं सेकंड पॉइंट मोर अछि थर्स्ट एरिया जदि या ऊपर के आलोचना करिया बहुत भलो यूथ पोटेंशियल हैज टू बी टैप्ड थ्रू क्वालिटी एजुकेशन एंड स्किल्ड डेवलपमेंट जदि आम डेमोग्राफी देखिबू भारत वर्ष 65% युवक युवती अमुक समक मु सदाळे कुए जदि एमानकु जदि प्रकृत रे टेकल न करिवो एबे जो डिविडेंड एमाने नांती कि एमाने डिजास्टर हेबे मनकर गोटे घरे 5टी पुओ अछि 5टी पुओ को जदि ता बापा भल भाव मनीष न कला तार बाड़िया पिटा हेबे माने बापार जो अवस्था हो परिवार जो अवस्था हो जदि 5टा पुओ मनीष हो गला अपन देखिबे गोटे परिवार केते खुशी लगतबो आईएएस आईपीएस आईआरएस अमुक घरे 5-5टा को पुओ मु केते परिवार देखिछि तेणु से माने डिविडेंड पाती नले डिजास्टर हो जाए वर्तमान इंडिया रे जो आम यूथ कंट्री कहूँ प्रैक्टिकली 65% पिला अच्छा से जदि प्रकृत में सरकार भल भाव में टेकल न करेंगे विथ क्वालिटी एजुकेशन एंड स्किल डेवलपमेंट दिस डिविडेंड विल बी डिजास्टर वन डे और इन द कमिंग नियर फ्यूचर एते संदेह नहीं आउ टाइम मोर प्रिंसिपल ensuring the empowerment of the women and girl children through education from the grassroots is very boost the private sector players in the education sector कारण प्राइवेट सेक्टर बर्तमान आप जानी समय थिला आईआईटी आईआईएम अमक समक उत्कल यूनिवर्सिटी ब्रह्मपुर सब खोलिले सब कले सरकार के तरफ से प्राइवेट प्लेयर नथिले बर्तमान प्राइवेट प्लेयर प्लेज वेरी इंपोर्टाट रोल ये सब जिनस तेणु आपण मैंने आलोकपात कले बहुत भल हम मु विषय नवा आगु ता 2-4 पद आम किट उपर कहीदेवाटा भल कारण आपण मैंने या उपरे सब समस्ते जानी मु जो कहि कि किट किस उपर आपण मैंने शुणिले बहुत आग्रह लगे कहीं अंगे निभेवा कथा जी कहे ताकू बेसी मजा लगे ना नहीं बही रे जा लिखाई पढ़ीदेली से किसी मूल्य ना तेणु आम आपण मान एमती गोटे जड़े अध्यापक थिलु लेक्चरशिप आरंभ करूँ महर्षि कॉलेज में लेक्चरशिप करी किट आईटीआई आरंभ कली गोटे भड़ा घरे 5,000 टंकार जयदेव छकरे महर्षि कॉलेज से जी प्रिंसिपाल थे सी मोर बर्तमान बड़ भक्त से प्रिंसिपाल केमिस्ट्री एचओडी 2 जन जाक गेट पाखे 7:30 से जगिथे प्रथम क्लास मत देवे कब अच्युत सामंत जहाँ किट कर खाली ठकब क्लास काले नब नब आम जगिबा ताकू तेणु मु प्रथम क्लास मत देते 7:30 मु केबे क्लास मिस करे जमा एवं मु जेहेतु टिके भल पढ़ाए मु बहुत पपुलार थी पिला भितर सामंत सार जलेश्वर भी 3 वर्ष रही सामंत सार एठी भी आसिली सामंत सार भल पपुलार तेणु एमती खेलु खेलु गोटे मन में कौन करवा भड़ा घरे 5,000 टंकार आरंभ करदेली किट आईटीआई और किस 2टाक 5,000 टंकार 5,000 टंकार से समय 92 मसीहार अमुक समक जहाँ भी हो आरंभ करदेली आज जो पहुँची सारा पृथ्वी लोक देखुं रिसर्च कर कौन भगवान सृष्टि कर 25टा कैंपस कोटी 70 लाख स्क्वायर फुट बिल्टअप एरिया 32,000 पिला किट रे अछंती 65 देश रु अछंती 1500 फॉरेन पिला एवं सारा विश्व रे किट ना करछि कोनोसी गोटे एक्रीडेशन आकोलेट्स नहीं जोटा कि भगवान द्वारा किट न पाइछंती किट न पाइछे पर्यंत तेणु आमको बहुत खुशी लगुच समय थिला मु भी बाणी बाहर पाठ पढ़ुली तापरे लेक्चरशिप करतली देखुतली स्पेशल ट्रेन जाउतला बेंगलोर हैदराबाद को कौन ना पिला माने जाउचंदी सेठी एंट्रांस दबा पे इंजीनियरिंग पढ़िबे एएमआई पढ़िबे सब भगवान बर्तमान आपण जाकू पचारिबे प्रति फ्लाइट रे 30% सीट रिजर्व ओनली फॉर किट किट पाई प्रति फ्लाइट रे 30% सीट रिजर्व होची पिला आसतु तंग गार्डियन आसतु जा तो मु कुए सारा सेते ट्रेन जाउतला बाहर को बर्तन फ्लाइट आसी भुवनेश्वर को किट पाई तेणु यही टाइप आम आटमोस्फियर सृष्टि कर भुवनेश्वर एजुकेशन हब हो पारी निश्चित भाव में आमर ओडिशार माननीय मुख्यमंत्री नवीन पट्टनायक महोदय एजुकेशन को स्कूल एजुकेशन हो यूनिवर्सिटी एजुकेशन हो कॉलेज एजुकेशन हो बहुत प्रोत्साहन दौरान बहुत प्रकार वेलफेयर स्कीम करछंती विशेषत अनुसूचित जाति जनजाति पिला बहुत प्रकार वेलफेयर स्कीम करछंती आम बहुत खुशी यही अंचल आरंभ करी 95-97 मसीह आम ए वर्ष सिल्वर जुबली पालन करूँ 97 मसीहा कारण आम 92-93 जदि भड़ा घर आरंभ करूँ 97 हूँ बेस इयर जोटि आम इंजीनियरिंग आरंभ कलु 97 रे तेणु जहा हूँ किट जो पहुँची पार्टी आपण मैंने सब जिन देखुं पेपर मीडिया पढ़ुवे सबुठ बड़ काम हूँ किट हूँ किस जोटा कि पृथ्वी में एपर्त कौटी ना कि कहीं करना कि आगामी 100 वर्ष भितर भी कहीं किस करेंगे केवे मोर विश्वास ना ए होम फॉर 70,000 पुअर ट्राइबल चिल्ड्रेन 30,000 पास कर 30,000 किस कैंपस अच्छा 10,000 10टा जिले में सैटेलाइट कैंपस रे पढ़ा आरंभ कर 70,000 पिलांकर माने आपण मैंने सेटा जानी फुली फ्री फुली रेजिडेंशियल गोटे सेल्फ फाइनेंसिंग यूनिवर्सिटी आउ गोटे यूनिवर्सिटी की चलाउची एटा होची अनन्य पृथ्वी रे अनन्य এবং সেটা হচ্ছে প্রথম ট্রাইবাল ইউনিভার্সিটি পৃথিবীরে ওনলি ট্রাইবাল ইউনিভার্সিটি এক্সক্লুসিভলি ফর দি ট্রাইবাল চিলড্রেন एंड दैट टू फुली फ्री फुली रेजिडेंशियल एमती कौटी माने नाही एई टाइप रो बहुत जिनस आपने देखिथिबे माने किट रो ह्यूज कंट्रीब्यूशन सेते आमे को किट इज दी कम्युनिटी बेस्ड यूनिवर्सिटी आज गवर्नर जाउछन हम गाँ को दैट गाँ हैज बीन कन्वर्टेड इनटू स्मार्ट विलेज एंटर पंचायत मॉडल पंचायत दैट इज बिकॉज ऑफ किट आउ जेते प्रकार कहले घंटा घंटा चल जीवो किट केमती करूची आर्ट लिटरेचर कल्चर फिल्म मीडिया एवं हाईएस्ट कंट्रीब्यूशन होची स्पोर्ट्स आपण जानिथिबे भारत वर्ष रे हाईएस्ट स्पोर्ट्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर ऑफ इंटरनेशनल स्टैंडर्ड क्रिएटेड एनी वन प्लेस इन द कंट्री दैट इज किट एंड किस एवं वर्ष को खाली नवेम्बर 2021 रु मार्च 2022 शंकर बाबू 30,000 खिलाड़ी सारा भारत रु पृथ्वी रु आस्तेले यू कैन इजिली इमेजिन हाउ मच इट कंट्रीब्यूट्स टू द टूरिज्म 30,000 प्लेयर आछन बिकॉज ऑफ स्पोर्ट्स इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर फैसिलिटीज एंड आवर इंटेंशन मु कहया कथा जे भगवान का आशीर्वाद रे जो देखुचंती एटा होची भगवान का आशीर्वाद मु गोटे माध्यम जड़े मनीष द्वारा केबे एते गुड़ा जिनस हो पारिबनी जे तांकर आशीर्वाद नथिबो तेणु तांकर आशीर्वाद जोगु आज 5,000 टंका आपण मान परिका जड़े कारण मु अध्यापक चाकरी करी 97 पर्यंत महर्षि कॉलेज रे 97 रु किट रे पुणी मो ना गड़ेली सीनियर प्रोफेसर हवा जाए मैडम रही राज्यसभा एमपी हवा आगु रेजिग्नेशन देली जिते मत यूजीसी मो पक्षे तो सदाबले लोक ईर्षार लगी था 24/7 लोक लगी था तो मुझे फास्ट ओडिया यूजीसी कमिशन मेंबर हेली 100 पिटिशन पढ़ला अर्जुन सिंह पचारे अरे सामंत जी क्या ऐसे बोले यार प्रोफेसर नहीं है मुझे एक टीम भेज दीजिए यूजीसी से वो देखेंगे मैं प्रोफेसर है कि नहीं लोगों को जाना नहीं मुझे महर्षि कॉलेज छाड़ला पर किट रे कंटिन्यू कर किट रे प्रोफेसर सीनियर प्रोफेसर है देखले ये इंडियन साइंस कांग्रेस प्रेसिडेंट हेली फास्ट ओडिया पुणी चलेले से तो किसी नुह ये नुह प्रोफेसर नुह अमुक नुह तो एमती तेणु मु भगवान का दयारू प्रोफेसर हो पारी निजे पीएचडी कर ता छड़ा 48टा ऑनररी डॉक्टरेट अवार्ड पाई सारे विभिन्न विश्वविद्यालय माने सेटा किछि नुह तेणु यही टाइप मु कहया कथा जे आपण मानक परीक्षा जड़े मु अध्यापक हिसाब रे मोर प्रथम कैरियर आरंभ करी एवं भगवान का आशीर्वाद थिला आज वर्तमान एठी पहुंचीचु किट रे आपणकर 10,000 परमानेंट एम्प्लॉई 4,000 एवं 2 मास आड हे 14,000 होचंती परमानेंट एम्प्लॉई 5,000 होचंती टेम्पररी एम्प्लॉई दोज आर वर्किंग अंडर डिफरेंट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स आउ गोटे सहर गड़ी उठी देखुथिबे चंद्रशेखरपुर यार्ड को शंकर बाबू प्राय किछि ना कौन चुरानी बाबू किछि नथिला वर्तमान गोटे सहर एवं एटी 2 लाख लोक इनडायरेक्ट एम्प्लॉयमेंट पाई कौन सी दुकान बाजार नहीं जोटा एरिया रे नहीं तेणु यही हिसाब रे किट रो कंट्रीब्यूशन एवं किट को जिते किट बहुत क्रिएट करछि प्रथम अनुष्ठान ओडिशा रे एक्रेडिटेशन पाइछि नाक रो एआईसीटी रो प्रथम अनुष्ठान 2004 मसीह डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटी पाइला जिते किट यूनिवर्सिटी गोटे मजा कथा कहीकि रखी किट यूनिवर्सिटी डीम्ड यूनिवर्सिटी पाइला मान्यता ସେତେବେଳେ ମୋର ଚିହ୍ନା ପରିଚୟ ପ୍ରଫେସର ବାଣିବାର ମୋତେ ଫୋନ୍ କଲେ, ଆରେ ଅଚ୍ୟୁତ ତମେ ଏତେ ବଡ଼ ଭୁଲ କାହିଁ କଲ? ମୁଁ ସାର୍ କ'ଣ ଭୁଲ କଲି? ଏବଂ ସେତେବେଳେ ଯେ ଭିସି ଥିଲେ ମୋ ନାଁ କହୁନି, ସେ ବି କହିଲେ ଅଚ୍ୟୁତ ତମେ ଏତେ ବଡ଼ ଭୁଲ କାହିଁ କଲ? ମୁଁ କ'ଣ ଭୁଲ କଲି? ନା ଏତେ କଷ୍ଟ କରି ଜୀବନଟା ଦେଇକିରି ତମେ ଏଟାକୁ କିଟ୍ଟାକୁ ବନେଇଥିଲ, ଏଟାକୁ ଡିମ୍ଡ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି କାହିଁ କରିଦେଲ? ମୁଁ କହିଲି କାହିଁ ହେଲା? ନା ଏଇଟା ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ସରକାର ନେଇଯିବ, ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣର ଚାନ୍ସେଲର ହବ। ମୁଁ କହିଲି ଏଇଟା ସାର୍ ଭ୍ରାନ୍ତ ଧାରଣା, ଏଇଟା ହେଉଛି ସେଲ୍ଫ ଫାଇନାନ୍ସିଂ ଡିମ୍ଡ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟିରେ ସବୁଦିନ ମୁଁ ହିଁ ରହିବି, ମୁଁ ଯାକୁ ଚାହିଁବି ତାକୁ ଚାନ୍ସେଲର ଆପଏଣ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ କରିବି, କେହି ଚାନ୍ସେଲର ହେବେନି। ବୋଲେ ଏମିତିକା କଥା, ମାନେ ଏମିତିକା ବି ଥିଲା ସେତେବେଳେ, ଧାରଣା ନଥିଲା। ମୁଁ କହିବାର ଅବଜେକ୍ଟିଭ ଯେ ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ଡିମ୍ଡ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି, ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ନାକ୍ ଆକ୍ରେଡିଟେସନ, ହ୍ୱାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍, ମାନେ ଏମିତି କୌଣସି ରାସ୍ତା ନାହିଁ ଯୋଉଟାକି ଭଗବାନ ତାରୁ କିଟ୍ ଦେଖେଇ ନାହିଁ। ସବୁ ଜିନିଷରେ କିଟ୍ କିସ୍ ଏତେ ଆଗରେ ପହଞ୍ଚିକି ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ଦେଖେଇଛି। ଯୋଉ ଫିଲ୍ଡକୁ ମୁଁ ନିଜ ଇଏରେ ବାହାସପଟ ମାରିବା ଅନୁଚିତ, କିନ୍ତୁ ଯେତିକି ଦରକାର ଆପଣମାନେ ଯେହେତୁ ଶିକ୍ଷାବିତ ମାନେ ସବୁ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି ବିଭିନ୍ନ କଲେଜରୁ ଜାଣିବା ଦରକାର, ତେଣୁ ସେଇ ଲେବୁଲରୁ କିଟ୍କୁ ଆଣିକିରି ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଏମିନେନ୍ସ ଟ୍ୟାଗ ଭାରତ ବର୍ଷରେ ଭାରତ ସରକାର 10ଟି ଡିମ୍ଡ ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି 10ଟି ନ୍ୟାସନାଲ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟକୁ ଦେଲେ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଚ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଏମିନେନ୍ସ ମାନ୍ୟତା, and with God's grace KIIT is also one among them, among the top 10 यूनिवर्सिटी। मणिपाल पाइछि, भेलोर पाइछि, माँ अमृतानंदमयी पाइछि, जो मैंने 50 वर्ष 40 वर्ष 60 वर्ष अनुष्ठान एवं नाकर अनुष्ठान आपण मैंने समस्ते जानते। मत कौन खुशी लगे? मत यहीटा खुशी लगे, सदा बेले दक्षिण भारतर दबदबा थाए एजुकेशन प्रोफेशनल एजुकेशन उपरे। एजुकेशन प्रोफेशनल एजुकेशन कहले साउथ इंडियन, तापरे महाराष्ट्र, एपटे सबू विशेष किछि नाही। से दबदबा को किट प्रतिहित करि पारछि। किट मध्य पार विथ देम कौन सी साउथ इंडियन यूनिवर्सिटी नहीं, प्राइवेट कथा मु कहछि। आई नेवर कंपेयर विथ आईआईटी एनआईटी। आफ्टर ऑल आईआईटी एनआईटी दे आर मच अबव देन केआईटी। 50-60 वर्ष अनुष्ठान सेठी भारत सरकार हो, ओडिशा सरकार हो, 100 हजार कोटी टंका से पंप इन कर गरीब लोक टैक्स मनी। आमे तो 5000 टंका आरंभ करी माने एठी जा क्रिएट करिछु सबुदिन ओडिशार प्रॉपर्टी हेगी रहिला। मते सबुठ खुशी लगे जे साउथ इंडियन करा एवं साउथ इंडियन जिते बड़ बड़ अनुष्ठान अच्छी सबू फाउंडर मैंने विजिट कर जाती, कहला साल्यूट करती। से किट को मानिया पड़ो। ईस्टर्न इंडिया रे गोटे विराट बड़ अनुष्ठान लेके आसला, जोटा कि साउथ इंडिया लोक के आशा करनथिले जे ओडिशा रे गोटे अनुष्ठान दबदबा दब। कौन गोटे आक्रेडिटेशन नाई, गोटे किछि नाई, गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया गवर्नमेंट ऑफ ओडिशा रो मान्यता जोटा तांको संगे किट न पाउछि। इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑफ एमिनेंस माँ अमृतानंदमयी मणिपाल 60 वर्ष भेलोर पाइछि, किट मध्य पाइछि। तेणु मते बहुत खुशी लगे जो पिला माने सब जाऊले साउथ इंडियन इंस्टीट्यूट को स्पेशल ट्रेन करी बर्तमान स्पेशल फ्लाइट करी से अंचल भारतर अणकण काश्मीर टू कन्याकुमारी कौन गोटे राज्य नहीं जार पिला माने एठी किट्रे पढ़ुना। 65 देशर पिला माने एठी पढ़ुचंती। आपण जानिथिबा दरकार हाईएस्ट फॉरेन स्टूडेंट्स इन एनी यूनिवर्सिटी इन द कंट्री दैट इज किट। 1500 फॉरेन पिला अछंती 64 देशर। माने हम केते प्रकार दीज आर दी ब्रांडिंग। ए जो ब्रांड क्रिएट करिछु बिलियंस रुपीज ब्रांड क्रिएट करिछु हमें सारा पृथ्वी रे भगवान जानुचंती किट कौन किस कौन। तेणु सेथि पई एटा संपूर्ण मु देखे जदि आम मान माध्यम रे हेछि भगवान का आशीर्वाद। तेणु आमे एको करि पारछु। जा हो शेष रे आपण मान को मध्य मु आउ थरे धन्यवाद देवी। आपण माने आज दिन जागर प्रोग्राम अच्छी लंच भल करी करिवे। मु 3 दिन तळू आमर भिसी रेजिस्ट्रार अन्य समस्त कर्मकर्ता मानू दिन को 10 थर कही अति कम रे जे गोटे भी अध्यापक अध्यापिका जो मैंने आसचंती से माने कौनसी परिस्थिति रे किछि भी तांकर असुविधा हवा उचित नुह। एटा होची मोर तांकु कड़ा इंस्ट्रक्शन बिकॉज दैट इज माय लव एंड अफेक्शन टुवर्ड्स ऑल ऑफ यू। कारण मु टिके जीवी मोर संगे संगे गाँ को बाहरी गवर्नर प्रोग्राम मो गाँव रे अच्छी आउ टिके परे। तेणु से जाउचंती से मु ना अदरवाइज मुझे कमन मैन हिसाब से बुलू थाए। जमती आज देखले आसली सकाल मोर ब्रेकफास्ट कली आपण मान सहित तो मुझे बुलू थाए मु पूरा रही था 4टा जाए किंतु एटा कॉन्फिडेंस माने मिसीगला ये प्रोग्राम सहित से आपण मानकु मध्य बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देवी। एवं आपण माने एजुकेशन लाइन में काम करुचंती। वर्तमान इंटरनेट जुग रे ना पिला को हैंडल करिया बहुत कष्ट, एते सहज नुह। पर्टिकुलरली जनरल कॉलेज रे आमर एठी किट रे 32,000 पिला अछंती नो डाउट। एंड यू विल आपन तो समस्त जानिथिबे मोर एटी बहुत बंधु बसचंदी जो माने सब प्रिंसिपल हेकी बसचंदी सब विभिन्न बहुत बंधु बसचंदी अर्कद मोर क्लासमेट बाणीबार क्लासमेट वाइस चांसलर तेणु एटी 32,000 पिला थांती आमे धन्यवाद देवी प्रोफेसर महांती को वाइस चांसलर खलिकोट यूनिवर्सिटी से एबे कहउथले आज्ञा कोन ग्रीनरी हेची ये कौन पिला गोटे पत्र भी छू ना मुझे जदि पिला माने गोटे पत्र छूते 32,000 पिला गोटे दिन गछ नड़ा करदे गोटे पत्र कौन पिला छुईबे नहीं बिकज दैट टाइप ऑफ डिसिप्लिन वी हैव बीन मेंटेनिंग एवं समस्त देखछंती मोर किछि बंधु माने जो माने बसचंती नवेम्बर रु मार्च पर्यंत 25टा का कैंपस खाली फूलरे एकदम भर्ती हेतिबो फूलरे गोटे फूलर पाखुड़ा भी के पिला छुईबेनी 32,000 पिला कारण डिसिप्लिन मैटर्स ए लॉट सेटा मु सब बेले सिखाए जोटी डिसिप्लिन नाही मनकर आपण समस्त बाइथिबे मु आज्ञा बास आइनी एकुटिया लोक जदि परिवार डिसिप्लिन नाही से जेते धनी परिवार हो ना जेते जाओ किछि हबनी शेषकु रिजल्ट होची जीरो तेणु गोटे परिवार हो गोटे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन हो गोटे सरकार हो गोटे समाज हो डिसिप्लिन मैटर्स ए लॉट तेणु मु सब बेले पिला को आगे माने आमे एठी हमर प्रायोरिटी होची डिसिप्लिन कौन आजिकल पिला माने समस्त इंटरनेट रे पढुचंती काहा को कोकदा जणा नहीं मनकर आपण कोन पढेइबे जदि से एरिया रे इंटरनेट थिबो से पिला त आगुर जानथिबो आपण कोन पढेइबे आउ वर्षे 2 वर्ष रे टिकी इंटरनेट जदि फास्ट हे जिवो देखिबे आपण को किछि पढेया को पडिबेनी खाली पिला को डिसिप्लिन रक्षा करबे से पूरा पाठ पढी चल जिवो बर्तन एमती जुग आसिलानी जेमती जेतले जो जुग माने बर्तन आसुची सेतिपे एठी भगवान दयारु आमे एते डिसिप्लिन करिताउ आपण जानिचंती कि नाही हमर मेडिकल कॉलेज डेंटल कॉलेज नर्सिंग कॉलेज अटैच्ड विथ 2600 बेडेड मल्टी स्पेशलिटी हॉस्पिटल 2600 बेडेड 1300 थिला एबे 1300 ऐड हेची 26 इट इज द बिगेस्ट हॉस्पिटल इन द स्टेट नाउ वर्तमान एटा होची बिगेस्ट हॉस्पिटल ये रे तेणु एते जिनस चलची कोटी 2600 बेड हॉस्पिटल चलची कोटी किस चलची 30,000 पिलांकर कोटी किट चलची 32,000 छुआंकर स्पोर्ट्स माने एते एक्टिविटी चलची दी रीजन होची डिसिप्लिन एटी एकदम माने सबु जिनस एते डिसिप्लिन होतबो केही माने किछि जानि परिबेनी किछि करि परिबेनी डिसिप्लिन सेति पई आपण माने जदी जनरल कॉलेज करिया बहुत कष्ट कारण मु निजे महर्षि कॉलेज थी मुझे जानी सब कॉलेज विषय में जाने जिते जनरल कॉलेज जनरल यूनिवर्सिटी सब अच्छी कौन असुविधा भी अच्छी मुझे जाने कि आम कहीपरूनी ओपनली कहीपरूनी असुविधा कौन अच्छी चाहिए भी आपमि कम करें से आमको जना अच्छी तेणु जहाँ भी हो माने आपण मैंने जेहेतु विभिन्न कॉलेज को हेड करूँ कॉलेज उन्नति हेले बहुत भल एवं मु बहुत खुशी है माननीय मुख्यमंत्री मो स्कूल हो कॉलेज हो एसबू जो स्कीम करी जो पुनरुद्धार कर कारण इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैटर्स ए लॉट वर्तमान जो जुग है पिला माने कौन ऑर्डिनरी इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर के पढ़िया चाहते कि इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैटर्स करे बहुत बेसी जमी आप किट देखुं सबुआड़े किट आप एंटायर माने कौन गोटे एतकी छोटिया जगह नहीं जो एयर कंडीशन नहीं से डाइनिंग हॉल हो लाइब्रेरी हो सबू हो ऑल स्मार्ट क्लासरूम हमको कारण नकर कम्पीट कर बर्तमान जुगे अलग कॉलेज सहित कम्पीट करेंगे ग्लोबल कम्पीट करेंगे सब बहुत जिनस रही जो गुड़ा कि आम फॉलो करूँ भी आज टाइम्स हायर एजुकेशन रैंकिंग कहतु सबुथिरे भगवान दारू किट इंडियार प्रसिद्ध यूनिवर्सिटी मान सहित दबदबा सृष्टि करके रखिपारी ओडिशार ना रखिपारी मेन हूँ किट माने ओडिशार ना रक्षा कर हाँ ओडिशार गोटे अनुष्ठान इन्स्टिट्यूट एमिनेंस अच्छी कि टाइम्स हायर एजुकेशन रैंकिंग अच्छी NIRF रैंकिंग रे बहुत भल पोजिशन अच्छी एमती जहाँ भी हो एसबू जिनस रही तेणु आपण मैंने समस्ते मत एत समय देथिबारु सुनिथिबारु मु बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद दूची एवं मोर चिन्हा मुह बहुत लोग बसचंती तेमानकर ना नहीं पारनी समय घोर अभाव 11टा बाजिगला तेणु आपण मानकु बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद नमस्कार।
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. May I now request our Honorable Founder and Vice Chancellor to kindly felicitate our esteemed guests of honor. Professor Dr. N. Nagaraju, the Vice Chancellor of Gangadhar Meher University, Sambalpur. Professor Dr. Prafulla Kumar Mahanti, the Vice Chancellor of KIIT University, Barampur. Professor Dr. Harihar Hota, the Vice Chancellor of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Puri. Professor Dr. Arka Kumar Das Mahapatra, the Vice Chancellor of Odisha Open University, Sambalpur. And Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Behra, the Vice Chancellor of KIIT Deemed to be University, Bhubaneswar. We are extremely honored and privileged to have such renowned personalities as our guests of honor for the day. Thank you so much, dignitaries. Moving on, may I seize this opportunity to kindly request our esteemed dignitaries to release the books. The first book is jointly written by Sasmita Rani Samanta, the esteemed Vice Chancellor of our university, and Professor J.P. Mahajan, the Executive Director of Academic Publication from KIIT Management and Social Sciences. The book is titled as Human Resource Management, Changing Landscape in Changing Times, and is published by PHI Learning Private Limited. May I request Professor J.P. Mahajan to kindly join us on the stage for the release of the book. Sir, please. The second book, titled Machining of Nanocomposites, has been written by Professor Ramesh Kumar Nayak and Professor Mohan Kumar Pradhan from MANIT Bhopal and Professor Ashok Kumar Sahu from KIIT School of Mechanical Engineering. May I request Professor Ashok Kumar Sahu to kindly join us on the stage for the release of the book. Sir, please. The third book, titled Algebra, is authored by Professor Sudarshan Nanda, the research chair of our university. May I request Professor Sudarshan Nanda to kindly join us on the stage for the release of the book. Sir, please. Thank you so much, dignitaries. Moving on, Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology is actively engaged in signing MOUs with various reputed institutions for the all-round development of the university and the society. So keeping up with the tradition, may I now request our beloved May I request Professor Sashmita Samanta to kindly address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Very good morning to one and all present here. Our honorable founder of KIIT and KIIT, Professor Dr. Chitananda Samant sir, respected Vice Chancellor of Gangadhar Meher University, Sambalpur, Professor Dr. N. Nagaraju, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Hollycourt University, Professor Dr. Prafulla Kumar Mahanti, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Puri, Professor Dr. Harihar Hotar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Odisha Open University, Professor Dr. Arka Kumar Das Mahapatra, Honorable Vice Chancellor of HES University, Professor Deepak Kumar Behera, our respected Director of School of Social, Financial and Human Sciences, Professor Jayant Kumar Parida, all the honorable principals of different colleges of Odisha, honorable faculties, the head of Quality Assurance Department, and all other dignitaries present here in this gathering. I think since 2020 July, August, September, by that time, since then until now, lots of motivation, enthusiasm, aspirations have been created in the field of education. And each one of the person connected to education, we all are aspiring that something we had aspired for, something we had dreamed for, perhaps it is coming to the purview of education, and we'll be getting a strong system, we'll be getting strong tools with ourselves to transform the world, for which each one of us are very much passionate, committed, and determined to do in our life. After the release of a national education policy, lots of such thoughts and such, I can say that aspirations were created everywhere across the country. And we had seen that even the developed countries like US, Europe, or Australia, Japan, where normally this country is sending the trained technical manpower, those countries also very much excited for this. I had discussed with around more than 10-15 vice chancellor in United Kingdom. After the release of this national education policy, even the heads of the departments and faculties, even in National University of Singapore and some faculties in the universities of USA, particularly the University of Maryland, University of Indiana, and those places we had seen that some type of expectation or hopes were created from the education system of this country. Now today, the Indian education system not only respected everywhere, but the people are having lots of expectation from this education system. The number one reason is that we are sending number of youth across the world for higher education. Second is that we are sending number of youth across the world as the technical manpower. It can be engineering, it can be technology, it can be science, and also in medicine. Very recently, I visited UK and I found that perhaps that country is being dominated by the doctors of this state. Of course, doctors of India, but the doctors of Odisha also. Anyone we talk about Odisha, Bhubaneswar, they say that your state is having good doctors. So that type of identity we have created in the globe, and that is being done. And if we come and keenly analyze the national education policy, one very strong, powerful vision this national education policy is having for all of us, that it emphasizes on relevant education and relevant research. Very recently, before 1 month, while our Honorable Minister of Education spoke about that each one of the institution will be autonomous institution, they will be making their own curriculum. At that point of time, perhaps we all were discussing that whether it's possible. 50,000 autonomous institutions, 50,000 types of curriculum. Why not? If it is possible in USA, if it is possible in UK, if it is possible in Europe, why we cannot judiciously utilize that autonomy and that empowerment by all of us? Perhaps each one of the leaders established in each one of the academic institutions in this country today, they are self-sufficient to make their own curriculum, to understand their target audience. The students are coming to study there, and the aspiration, hopes, and dream of the students of that institution, what really they want to do, and to train them, to educate them to become successful in this globe. So that level of autonomy expectations is slowly coming to the shoulders of all the academic leaders in this country. So at that point of time, 2-3 things matters a lot. How much we are informed, how much resources we are having. Resources will be playing a very key role if this national education policy is being implemented in toto. Recently I was in a discussion where the head of Education Council of Karnataka, they said that they have adopted national education policy in toto. In Madhya Pradesh, I discussed with one faculty, of course, of commerce who was in a NAC visit with me to one institution in Bangalore. He was also saying that MP has adopted national education policy in toto. And if that is being followed in toto, then resources will be playing a very key role with us. Not only the physical resources, maybe after this COVID-19, we all have realized that physical resources are having their own importance in education, but apart from the physical resources, 2 things are playing much more importance in the today's education system. That is human resources. Second one is intellectual resources that the institution is having. So with that objective, we had started with this World Leadership Academy. I attended one World Conference of Times Higher Education. There, I was a speaker there. And the Vice President of Elsevier, we all talk about Scopus. We all talk about the publications. While we talk about publication, always Elsevier name comes to us. So the Vice President of Elsevier was managing that event. He was the anchor in that event. So while discussing with him about publications, then how Indian institutions are coming up, how world institutions are coming up in publication, so he was discussing about the crux in publication, how good publications can be made, how the indexing is happening. So Elsevier is responsible for the Scopus indexing. Of course, the UGC CARE has started one indexing. So I thought if any institution born in USA, born in United Kingdom, they can create a global brand which is acceptable to all, then why we can't start in this country? So with that in my mind, I discussed with our honorable founder, I discussed with Professor Parida and also many faculties around the globe. And after that, we started to establish World Leadership Academy, where we can index the publications. Of course, today academia research get many platforms are there, but we wanted to reach to the grassroots level, to understand the grassroots level research aspiration. And if sometimes we are not able to publish because of the language, because of discoordination between our thoughts and writings, then how we can help them? So we wanted to bring that culture into the grassroots level. So I discussed with many publishers, the Elsevier, Wiley, then we discussed with the people in EBSCO, different platforms like EBSCO, we discussed with many like JGET, many people, those who are associated in publication industries. So while discussing with them and seeing their statistics, I found that most of those platforms And most of those publishers are confined to only developed institutions, those who can afford for this. Today we say that we are the maximum subscribers of e-resources of this country. KIIT invests around 10 to 12 crores rupees every year for getting access to the e-resources, bringing it to our faculty members. And if we see the utility survey of this e-resources, we find maybe maximum we can reach up to 10%, because each one of the platforms are having many books. Maybe those courses are not offered here, or the faculties of my universities are not engaged in those research activities. So while for the Paramore scheme, I went and interacted with the faculty members of different institutions of the state, I found that the knowledge and orientation to get connected with the intellectual resources, sometimes it is missing because you are not aware of that. So I started discussing with many publishers, and I wanted to develop a platform where particularly the faculty members of the government institution, the autonomous institution, those who are working, how they can be connected to that. So after lots of discussion, I thought that if you are investing in one place, maybe everybody will be benefited out of that. And of course, today in the state, we all are proud of many things. We are saying we are the sports capital. We are saying we are the this is the place for the education capital. We are doing now, slowly, we are doing good things, and many aspects, like in COVID management, we did well. While discussing in many forums, everybody said that your chief minister is doing good, your state is doing good, your people are humble and working well. So I thought that why not in education? Why this place will not be good in education? Because while I go to Andhra or I go to South, I find the passion and commitment seen in the teachers or the academicians of the state, that is always missing in South. Because the reasons are many. Because here in our grooming process, it is said that knowledge is the esteem. The highest esteem, the knowledge should be taken. And in our grooming process, we say that if you are not reading well, then maybe we'll be missing something, missing everything in our life. So with that, and maybe those people, those states are very well off, and the students are having some backup plan if they are not studying well. But here we cannot think anything beyond education. So with that objective, I started this World Leadership Academy. Second is to tap the talent. If we see many publication platforms, they are only publishing the publications, the paper. But I realized that being connected to education, since school up to the university, the students are engaged in many research activities. They do projects, they write the projects, they present it in their examination, and after that, after 1 year, 2 years, that project is missed out. That knowledge, that effort is missed out. So I wanted to develop one platform where the projects can be stored. We are giving the free space for the students to upload their projects. Of course, we are doing the Turnitin check. We are having the sufficient academicians with us. We are having sufficient tools with us for the plagiarism check. And after that, that project is being indexed, and student is being informed about that indexing. As such, that can be the property of this nation. Wherever the effort is being put, that should be preserved. It is the responsibility of each one of us, and that should come to the people. So with that objective, this World Leadership Academy has been created in the state. As such, the knowledge of this state, knowledge of this country, the efforts of the state, efforts of the youngsters of the state can be preserved. So that sort of platform has been created. Till now, it's totally free of cost. Anyone is doing any project in the university, they can upload. It can be indexed. They can be informed. And that indexing will be, and that cloud space is totally free of cost. That is the second objective. Third is that, like, our objective is that we want to create a brand like Elsevier's, like Wiley. Why always the international brands? Why in this country such publication brands, the quality publication brands cannot be created? So now we have tied up with 10 publishers, those who will be speaking to you after this session of the Vice Chancellors are over on this seminar. And they will be talking about the platforms they are giving through World Leadership Academy, free of cost. They are giving us on payment, but World Leadership Academy has decided to give one user one platform to each one of the college at free of cost. You can access to not only to the open access journals, you can access even to all the paid journals. You can have the access to all the paid journals like EBSCO, JGATE, and many more Scopus. Those databases you can have the free access now. For next 2 years, it is guaranteed. After that, we shall see if something can be done. So that's the objective of this meeting. After the seminar, that will be done by the publishers. The publishers will be there on online, and they will be talking about that. So coming to the relevant education, as I said, that this national education policy focuses on relevant education. For that, autonomy is being given to the institution. I thought that let's each one of us understand what really relevant is. Suppose being a faculty in management, if I say that human resource management, we are talking about the theories of motivation, theories of leadership, we are talking about management, we are talking about functions, roles, and all those things, then what really relevance, from what really relevant is, and from where this relevance comes. So while I talk about this, today, if we see the higher education system in the way it is there, it is a little bit fragmented. We say that like IITs are only for technology, AIMS are for medicine. Our state universities and central universities are focused on basic sciences and social sciences, commerce, those courses, and all IIMs are focused for management education. So it is in the fragmented stage. If we always take the example of all international universities, any top universities we take into example, it can be Harvard, Stanford, Cambridge, Oxford. There the education system is very holistic. All educations are there in one campus and it's together. It's not that any education is there, any studies are there, those who are not in their university portfolio. Even recently I visited Oxford, I found the Center for Indian Studies. We are very happy for that. And Center for Hindu Studies, we are much happier than that. We thought that perhaps this country, this university is having a great vision to integrate the knowledge base in this world. So in that way, our education system is very fragmented and there is no system in place to coordinate the effort. If we see the principle of this national education policy, we find that the literacy, the language, numeracy, the mathematics, 2 subjects have been given the utmost importance here. Anyone is coming to education system, even at the age of 3, they will be having autonomy to select the language they want to learn. The teachers will select the language they want to teach their own students. So in that way, the language takes its own importance. Second is coming to the numeracy. If we see the national education policy go through the school education, particularly the primary education, secondary education, we find that the lots of focus is there how numeracy education or mathematics education can take the predominant role. Then the second is that this national education policy, the vision is that how to re-engineer our education system to make it more and more relevant, to bring it to the ground, to bring it to the world that can be the relevant to the time, relevant to the society, relevant to the people, relevant to the economy. So we had, while going through that policy, we had written down few strategies the higher education system focuses on. Of course, we have studied also the school education system, but here all the people are targeted for higher education system. So these are the strategies where we see that multidisciplinary education, internationalization, universalization of education. If I say in one word, it focuses on inclusivity, it focuses on accessibility, it focuses on excellency, it focuses on universalization. So for all those things, for inclusivity, for accessibility, for excellency, and for universalization of Indian education system, I hope that the processes, the systems, the key energy, the power required in our process, perhaps it is coming to us in many forums we will be discussing. And coming to the goals of the education, national education policy, we have identified 20 goals, and those goals are also roaming around that how quality, opportunities, then equipping the students with knowledge, skill, and help them how the knowledge, skill can be applied, which can be converted to wisdom. When we talk about relevant education, we think that it should be socially relevant, it should be culturally relevant, and employment relevant. And how to bring that relevance to the system? So we are having only one tool, one thing in our hand, that is the curriculum, to bring the relevance into the curriculum. So we all are listening that UGC has given 20% freedom to each one of the college, each one of the institution to modify our curriculum. Why that 20% freedom? That 20% freedom is to bring the relevance into the academics. Suppose somebody is there in Sambapur. I attended one meeting in Telangana where their higher education chairman was organizing one event before 3 years. This year also they called me on 17th, but I could not attend. So what they have done, they have geographically divided their state according to their GDP, according to their geographical agricultural base, geographical industrial base, and accordingly they are allotting the seats to different institutions. And accordingly they are requesting the principals of the institution to include some of the courses, those who are regionally, nationally, and internationally relevant. Before 3 years, if anyone is there in commerce, I was there for restructuring of the commerce and management syllabus. So there what they did, they brought AI in commerce, they brought business analytics, they brought robotics in commerce, how robotics principle can be applied in commerce. So those 3 subjects they brought into the purview of the commerce education in the state. By taking in the stock of the aspiration of the students, what really they want to do, they made the survey that this many percentage of the students, they want to come to Hyderabad, want to work in the software industry or knowledge industry. So they thought that business analytics should be the part of that curriculum. They found that those many students, those many percentages of the students, they want to involve in the mini family business in their place itself. So they wanted to bring different perspective into the curriculum, starting from the agriculture, the cottage industries, and also the process of production and marketing. What mostly we miss today while we talk about the family industries, why people are leaving the family business and joining different corporates, that they wanted to bring into the purview. So in that way, the employment relevant we want to bring. And social and cultural relevance, we always talk about today's kids, they are not connected to the culture, our culture. So where there is the culture in our grooming process. If you say that academic institutions are solely responsible today because they in-houses the students from age 3 to age 23, 20 years. Within the age of 23 years, 20 years they are in the academic institution. Where is the process that we are teaching them culture? Where is the process we are teaching them what really the society wants? So the social cultural blending, social cultural aspirations to bring it to the curriculum, that's very much important today. So second one is responsive pedagogy. Once the curriculum is fixed, we have brought the regional, national, international relevance into our pedagogy judiciously by discussing, by focusing on the aspiration of the target audience, then come to the responsive pedagogy, how we have made our delivery plan. While we are delivering the same subject to the target audience, as such the aspiration of each one of the student today is being fulfilled. Because if I teach 60 students in a class, I know that today the students are not committed for a particular organization. They are not committed for a particular profession. They are not committed for a particular set of life for another 30 to 40 years. Anyone is sitting in the class today, they only plan for 2 to 3 years. After 3 years, their plan changes. Today they may join the public sector. Tomorrow they may have the enterprises of their own. After 3 years, they want to have the enterprise in US or UK. That sort of dream, that sort of aspirations they are having in the class itself. So that aspiration, how we can match to that? What is the level of expectation? So accordingly, we have to design the pedagogy to be very responsive to their aspiration. Next comes to the creative outcomes. How much creativity? The flexibility, innovative thoughts we are bringing while we are delivering the subject. What is the openness there? How many experiments, how many assignments, how many case studies we are designing so the students can put their thoughts, put their creativity to solve it, whether we are doing that. How much we are bringing it into the students. And even we talk about relevance, whether we are giving some case studies related to regional or social relevance or cultural relevance to the students. So that question slowly should come to the mind of the teacher while I teach the students itself. Then critical thinking and derived solutions. We all are discussing about critical thinking in many ways, particularly the faculty, those who teach mathematics, statistics, we always talk about critical thinking. What is the aspect of critical thinking? How much thoughts the student has to give to solve a problem. But critical thinking is very much essential in the field of social science also, or is it required in science and mathematics? In social science also today, when we grow in technology, I think that technology is a tool to solve a issue, to solve a social problem. But social science is the core of knowledge, which provides us the opportunities to understand the human being, to understand the society, to understand the environment. Be empathetic for that. And once we are empathetic, we have understood science, technology, they provide us the processes, the ways how to solve the problem. Then how our methodology is evolutionary. In KIIT, we are having a system of interacting with the students in every semester, particularly the vice chancellors, the registrar, the founder, all big professors. We call the students in every 6 months to discuss with them that what is their dream, what is their aspiration, what they want to do in their life. And if they are interested to do something in their life, then whether our system, our curriculum, our pedagogy is helping them. If not, what else they expect? So after discussing with them, since last 5 years, we have developed a very diverse, open curriculum. I say if anyone is doing engineering, anyone is doing science, anyone is doing commerce, they have to take 40% of the subject from the department in undergraduate level. And other 60%, that they should take from humanities, management, social science, law, medicine, wherever their interest lies. Of course, the requirement is there, like 15% from humanities and management, 20% from allied branches of knowledge, 30% from this place. So in that way, it is judiciously managed. So bringing a diverse curriculum to the students, and while we bring diverse curriculum, while we bring openness in the system, of course, we open the door for the challenges. We give the opportunity to the students to challenge ourselves. Why this? Why not that? Why that? Why not this? So in that way, we should equip ourselves that how we can match to their aspiration, how we can match to those challenges, whether we are having sufficient solution with us for that. Then, Ajay, you are saying that today perhaps, while we talk with even the leaders of big industries, like the people in Deloitte, Accenture, we talk about all big MNCs, even the directors of all IITs, IIMs, central universities, vice chancellor or state universities, vice chancellor, we find today none of the institutions, industries today are equipped enough with all the resources to match with the aspiration of the people. Previously, what was happening, we are being taught that whenever you are taught a subject, please understand that to which organization you are going. Being a person from commerce and management, that was explained to us that align your own dreams to the requirement of the industry, as such you can get a good job. You can be employable. But now it has just become reverse. Each one of the organization and industry today, they are thinking that how they will be making their system diverse, flexible, how they will be making the judicious alignment between their core and the flex. As such, any one of the youngsters of this generation, from any country, from any state, any institution in the globe, they can come, they can connect themselves, their dreams can be fulfilled, and the organizational goal can be achieved. So in that way, all the industries and institutions are planning. So there, as I said, that the resources resources of none of the institutions are sufficient enough to cater to the need of the youngsters today. So it has become mandatory for each one of us to collaborate. If today 400 institutions are there from state of Odisha and KIIT, of course we are having good laboratories, we are having equipments, we are having good community engagement, then also we are having the dearth of the processes, the dearth of the system, how we can connect to each one of the village, how we can understand the aspiration of each one of the citizen of the state. We can understand the aspiration of each one of the citizen of this country, where the principals of each one of the college can give us the input for which we are signing the MOUs with all the local colleges. As such, we all were discussing with different principals for this accreditation process, while we are discussing about collaboration, this collaboration is not only confined to the collaboration with the international universities. We can also collaborate with each other to use our laboratories, to get engaged with different faculty members and work together. So for optimum utilization of the resources in the globe, and to meet with the aspiration of this generation, not only the students of your college or my university or any other university, the collaboration will play a very great role. Even we are seeing that now industries are coming closer. All the public authorities are coming closer. Today, while we talk about the world ranking, Minister of Education, Secretary of Education, UGC Chairman, AICT Chairman, all of them are holding the meetings of all the top 100 institutions in this country, that how we can improve in the world higher education ranking. So in that way, we all are coming together to make our own place, I can say that, to bring our old legacy, that we are the best in knowledge, that this is the place for knowledge creation. This is the place for knowledge dissemination. So that legacy we want to bring in place. So you all have to work together. So we thought, why not we start that culture from the state itself, to come together, collaborate with each other, understand our state, understand our place, make our education system relevant, and offer it to this generation as such they can be unique in this globe. How this relevant education can be developed. Some of the strategies what I thought that first is that each one of the institutions should be strongly connected to the community, strongly connected to the society. I visited one of the university in USA, that was University of Nebraska. I visited in 2016. So while we discussed with them, and as we went for a leadership program there for 4 weeks, they were teaching us the leadership theories, normally what I had learned in my college time. So I said that while we teach about leadership theories, mostly we are talking about the traditional theories. Why don't you talk about the theories, the contemporary theories today we are talking about, the centered leadership or participative leadership, why not that? Then they said that this university is working on centered leadership since last 2 years. We have adopted 3 towns. They are the villages they call as the town. And there we have implemented this centered leadership policy. And now slowly we are getting the feedback from the people that how the centered leadership is effective. And once the research outcome is coming to our hand, and we are sure about the effectiveness of this leadership theory, then only we can bring it to the classroom. Whether you are having any relevant data with yourself about this theory, please bring it to the table. But I said that now leadership theory, the central leadership is there in the books, so we follow the books and we teach. They said that, but in this country, it does not happen like this. So it should be done in this way. So first, I thought that being connected to the communities should be the first step for any academic institution to make its curriculum relevant. And second is that social and human inputs. How to bring the input, bringing the feedback from them, getting engaged, working with them, bringing the feedback either in the form of experience or in the form of data or in the form of aspirations, dreams, hopes in our understanding. In any way, those inputs should come to the system, or we also try to understand that. Third one is, after getting the data, then consolidating the data, experimentation on that, then we can decide about reflection, how we can reflect to the world, how we can reflect our education system to the world. And after the assimilation and creation of knowledge, and while the knowledge is experimented, then when the data is experimented, when the inputs are experimented, the knowledge is created. And for that, the three factors also matter a lot: environment, people, and time. How the environment is today. Yesterday, we are discussing with a faculty from Johns Hopkins University. He is from Public Health Department. He was discussing about that how the behavior, the connection of the indigenous people in the state, their connectivity with the media, their hopes, their experience with different policies, communication policies of this country, social media of this country, in the way it is being reflected, in the way it is being communicated, how can we grab this? And what they talk about the climate change, how they talk about the environmental change, and what is the perspective of the indigenous people in climate change and the environmental change, and how they reflect on that, how they want to reflect on that. So he wanted to jointly develop a proposal as such Johns Hopkins and KIIT can come together, understanding the indigenous people communication perspective in climate change. So in that way, people are coming and want to study. So that perspective, we are very close to that. We are very close to the system. We are very close to those community, indigenous community. So how we can bring that to the system? So people make a very, with environment, people also make a very important role, an important role while we make the curriculum. And time, how much it is relevance to the time, because we all are listening about disruptions. Many disruptions are happening in technology. This COVID-19 made whole disruptions in the globe. We are out of the college, out of the institutions, then also we taught the people. We devised a mechanism, we evolved with the time. That how, when we are, our passion, our commitment was so high. I will always advocate in all the forums today that always everybody in this country says the teachers are very much, I can say that strong, they are not at all flexible. They are not at all adaptable. I think this COVID-19 has proved that perhaps all the teachers, starting from the primary level up to the universities, each one of the teachers in this country are most adaptable people. Those who, the education industry was the most adapted in the industries after this COVID-19, we all have proved. We adapted, we started teaching online only after 10-15 days. It can be WhatsApp, it can be Zoom, it can be Google Meet, but we adapted and we taught to such a large mass, 30 crore students in the academic institutions of this country at one point of time. Teaching 30 crores population by those teachers. Salutation to all the teachers that we adopted. That means this is the most flexible system, because every day we are trying to connect with the youngsters, the generations, and trying to evolve with their aspirations, with the hopes. Maybe that adaptability was there, is there. We don't recognize it, but now this COVID-19 has recognized that. So coming to the different elements of relevant education, I was going through the books of John Dewey. Normally, while we talk about education, we talk about John Dewey, who said that education is not the part of life, this is the life itself. In his core book, he is having a core book where he has focused mostly on naturalism. How in education system, he says that in education system, environment or the world is the source of knowledge. That's the source of knowledge. People derive the knowledge from there. They equip themselves. And while they equip themselves, they connect to the society. They connect to their faith. They connect to their belief through socialism and spiritualism concept. And they use their own autonomy, freedom, democracy, and they develop the democratic thoughts for creation of new knowledge. That's the whole process how a person learns. So while I was going through his book of education, so these elements came to my mind that only through relevant education, the education which is based on the concept of social, cultural, and time relevance, we can bring into the principle of naturalism, humanism, socialism, spiritualism, democracy, and human dignity into the place. At last, if democracy is there, always will be protecting the human dignity, which is I can say that objective of the establishment of this globe. Then 7 outcomes we want to bring into the education today while we talk about the new education policy, while we talk about good education system. I was delivering a lecture only on curiosity, how the curiosity of the student can be maintained in 2 hours talk in one teacher's, in one UGC HRDC and also another one international forum, that how curiosity makes the great role in the life of a child, in the life of a human being, and how it motivates us to grow. So the first outcome, we understand that how that curiosity can be maintained. Normally, I give this example in many places. The Steve Work, who was the technological person in Apple with Steve Jobs, he had developed all the technology. Steve Jobs was responsible for business. Steve Work was responsible for development of technology in Apple. So he had mentioned that in Indian education system, it is very structured, very disciplined. It is the requirement of that country. It's because they are having a large population. They are fulfilling the requirement of millions of the students, millions of the youngsters of that country. But through that structure, very structured, very systematic education process, the children are being very much structured. Their thoughts are getting structured through the education system while they are going through their journey of 15 years and 20 years. So while we talk about out-of-the-box thoughts, while we talk about innovations, they are missing somewhere. So each one of us have to think that how to bring the openness as the curiosity of the students can be maintained. So second one is timely, how the education can be relevant to the time. If I say that disruptions happens in every 3 months, how can I say that this 3 months, the disruptions in 3 months, whatever is happening, the child can evolve with that, because there is no other system, technology, processes, governance in place which works faster than the brain. How can we tune the brain as such that can evolve with the time much faster than the technology, processes, system gets obsolete or disrupted in this globe? And disruptions always, if it is being by the mind, then always those kids can be ahead of that. Then systematic. Fourth one is connectedness, enthusiastic, healthy, and ethical. John Pradasar is saying your time is over, now you should finish. Of course, we all are focusing on outcomes. All of us are aware about that. Then how to designing the effective, relevant education system by studying the learner's background. From the background they come. What are the effectiveness indicators we should take for the studies of the background? That can be the outcomes we are aiming at. What is the intrinsic motivation inside? What is the satisfaction level, success index, and how it is helping for how much new knowledge is being created in any institution itself. And For that, the 5 things make the education system relevance, as I said already, about curriculum, pedagogy, resources, technology, and the target audience, what they want to do. And the accomplishment we all aim in any academic institutions are to protect the environment, which comes in the first place today, development of a sensible society, the children, students, those who are coming out through this education process, they should be sensible enough to understand the society, empathetic enough to understand the need of the people. Then third is the capable to create the opportunities. One is they should be sufficient enough to create opportunities for others, should have sufficient capability to grab the opportunity also. Then lifelong learning, we are listening always how they can be taught to continue the learning, confidence to establish their own thoughts, greater happiness quotient with them. Then the important initiatives for this paradigm shifts can be teachers training, that is the major part of this national education policy, the cultural changes, shift in social expectations, connecting the land and laboratories of knowledge together, as such there can be two-way communication between them, creation of opportunities in different levels and communicating to the stakeholders, development of process for effective engagement. So for the sustainable education, as we are talking about sustainable society, the policy, resources, the ecosystem, and the relevance of the education, the quality of education, and how much the education can be affordable. As I said, that resources are very scarce, and for development of the resources, it needs lots of investment, and to bring down the education system, collaboration is required. So only through collaboration we can make the education system affordable today to the globe. Then while we talk about SDGs, the education fulfills those 5 requirements, as I have understood, that empowerment, inclusiveness, interconnectedness, open-mindedness, equity, and justice for all. And if that is there in education, then it can be done. So in Sanskrit, we all listen about this sloka every day. Sarve bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pasyantu ma kaschid dukha bhag bhavet. So with this objective, I think each one of us, each one of the teachers in the colleges, schools, universities today, they teach the students, they do their work with passion and commitment. I hope that we can be able to do this with proper planning and execution and strategy. So thank you all.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your inspiring and motivating words, and for also enlightening us with the strategies and the initiatives that can be implemented to impart relevant education for building a sustainable society. Moving on, it is an extreme privilege for all of us to have Professor Dr. N. Nagaraju, the Vice Chancellor of Gangadhar Meher University, Sambalpur, as our esteemed guest of honor. With 34 years of teaching experience, Professor N. Nagaraju is presently working as a professor in English at Central University of Karnataka. Sir, may I request you to kindly address the gathering with your precious words. Sir, please.
Good morning. I think still a couple of minutes left to be the noon. First of all, Sri Achyuta Samanta, founder of KIIT and KISS and socio-cultural entrepreneur, Honorable Vice Chancellor of KIIT Deemed to be University, Professor Susmita Samanta, who just has given us this relevant sustainable education model, Professor Deepak Behra, elder academician and current Vice Chancellor of KISS, my fellow Vice Chancellors, Professor Pata, Professor Mahanti, and Professor Mahapatra, and the Director, Professor Parida, other fellow distinguished guests, participants, and KIITS fraternity. I am happy to join this World Leadership Academy and take it as a learning experience. I'm told about the academy as a platform to bring together people, culture, ideas, innovators in exercising intellectual freedom. If we all can remember, which was in the current scenario of dangers to it, has been reiterated by European Parliament only recently. I will speak about a couple of SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals. You all know the 17 goals. I will not speak about that, but a couple of goals which are in a way related to other goals, and in certain ways, when operationalization or operational part of it could be thought of, there are challenges posed. And the buzzword is here, sustainability. I would like sustainable goals were articulated at a global scale, but I would like to localize about this one particular goal, that is goal number 12, responsible consumption and production. Why I'm choosing this goal is because this goal directly linked to the subsequent goals of 13, 14, and 15. 13, climate change, 14, life underwater, and 15, life on land. And also the first two goals, no poverty and zero hunger. And I will talk about this one particular goal, and I will be brief. If you see the consumption and production pattern, particularly with regard to India, at 7.4 billion tons of material consumption, India stands second in the world as a consumer. That is 7 billion tons. Second, per unit area of resource extraction, if you are thinking about, it stands at 1,579 tons per acre. So now the question is, how do we decouple the growth from adverse environmental impact? That is to be focused. And the mitigation lies in augmenting resources efficiently and increasing the use of secondary raw material. But apart from this kind of resource use and resource extraction, there is another very alarming factor, and that is food wastage. Food wastage, we don't see it, but one data tells me that food wastage in India is almost 40%. When we are talking about food wastage, there are a number of other resources involved in producing that food would go waste. So resource efficiency needs to be socially, economically, intergenerationally, which is again very, very important. Intergenerationally, long-term optimizing is required for the well-being of all stakeholders. This is one thing I just thought may be very important, both for the subsequent goals as well as the first two goals in the SDG list. Next, I'm talking about the poverty and wealth distribution. Right now, the wealth distribution in the country is 42.5% of the wealth is in the hands of 1% of population, the top 1% of population. And the bottom 50% of the population only survive on mere 2.8 resources. Whereas the 1991 statistics tell us that 16.5% for the top 1% of population and 8.8 for the bottom 50. So it's almost between 3 to 4-fold increase for the 1% and a decrease for the bottom 50%. That's the reason in SDG goals, they don't talk about equality, they talk about reducing inequality. So because the globalization, the kind of liberalization that we have adopted for our country, this has made the rich richer and the poor poorer. This is one thing probably when we are talking about sustainable goals, we need to. So my point here is when we are talking about higher education, when we are talking about the higher educational institution in the country, particularly within national education policy, we keep focusing on, I think I have been attending a couple of conferences, most because these days we have the, they are all virtual platforms, so it enables us to attend more. They focus on internalization. They focus on mainstreaming skills education and integrating it with the general education. They focus on industry linkage and employability. But the important point here is how educational institutions train the youth, train the learner with his interest in learning and practice. How to put them in this sustainable supply chain, right from production to the consumption. If we can put the learner, if we can put the youth in this supply chain, the resource use and the resource mobilization, and particularly very sustainable use of the resources can, to an extent, be guaranteed. I think that is what is important for our educational institutions. Train the learner to put them in the sustainable supply chain from production to. And this supply chain is almost, it runs parallel to the food chain that we all know about, right from the producer to the consumer. I think I will stop here. You have heard a lot. But what is important is, can we, those of us involved in higher educational institutions, can we do our curriculum? Can we do our pedagogy to make the learner as a part of this supply chain, as a responsible participant in that supply chain, not just as a consumer, but as an effective producer? If we make our pedagogy, if we make our content, if we make our curriculum in the higher education system responsive to this growing disparate supply chain, we have done our duty. I think the devil is in the details, that is in operationalizing these aspects or bringing them into the curriculum. That is where probably each of us need to work. I think that's a huge responsibility. Indian higher educational institutions should take up this sooner, because the alarm bells are ringing for all of us as far as the resource crunch and the climate change are concerned. I will stop here. Thank you very much for giving me this chance. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind and encouraging words. Next, we have with us our esteemed guest of honor, Professor Dr. Prafulla Kumar Mahanti, the Vice Chancellor of KIIT University, Berhampur. He was also a former professor of zoology in Utkal University and is having over 35 years of teaching experience. Sir, may I request you to kindly address the gathering? Sir, please.
A very good day to all of you. And my namaskar to all my seniors, including Professor Nanda and Professor Bikari Charan Guru, who is my direct teacher. Esteemed dignitaries and all the invitees, including all the members of this large campus. Let me start from the extreme left on the dais is Professor Deepak Kumar Behera. Today, in fact, is 17th of April, 2022. And if we calculate, sir, I am citing from your mathematics department, although I'm afraid of your department, but let me start with the numericals, right from Professor Deepak Kumar Behera. If you calculate the number of Deepak Kumar Behera, probably, sir, the number will be 17, Professor Behera. Am I right? So today is 17. And the tallest person available here actually. So in that way, today's date is very vital and very spectacular. Then if you look at KIIT University, it contains probably 14 letters, probably 14. And if you look at the name of the great visionary person, Achyuta Samanta and Sasmita Samanta, the same number of letters are there. KIIT University, Achyuta Samanta and Sasmita Samanta, you will calculate the same number numerically or alphabetically, same number of alphabets are existing or available. That is another coincidence. Regarding education, Professor Sasmita Rani Samant, I do not know what exactly is your name. Your name reflected here is Sasmita Samant, but name reflected on that book is Sasmita Rani Samant. But anyway, Professor Samant has given a very exhaustive and elaborative deliberation to all educationists, eminent and prominent educationists like you all. I do not know what exactly is education. Somehow I have got certificate and probably somehow I have been placed as the Vice Chancellor. But if you cite the version of our former President, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he is of the opinion, he has given a very beautiful statement with respect to the objective of learning or education. The first and foremost objective of education is to make a good human being with skill and expertise. I repeat, the objective of education, according to Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, is to make a good human being with skill and expertise. Professor Achyut Samant also explained about the skill and expertise. Professor Samant also, Sasmita Samant Madam also explained lot many things about that one. But learning should be such that it must be informative, must be educative, must be effective, must be productive, and must be predictive. These 5 factors are completely essential for right and appropriate education. That means when we learn or teach our students, the 5 angles must be well taken care of. And these 5 components or segments are, must be informative, educative, effective, productive, and predictive. This is quite vital. But during this process actually, what exactly is the objective of this gathering? The main focus of this gathering is to meet the people around, in and around, is to sit, is to greet, and is to eat. We should meet each other. We should sit very close to each other. We should greet each other. And after this meeting, we should eat and in fact share and care actually. That is possibly, Sasmita Madam, the main attraction of this particular platform. Uh, Now, when we are teaching or learning, human beings are very unique and teachers are more unique because they have been given three organs which are completely unique, and these three organs are present in all animals. But the three organs, namely brain or head, hand, and heart, 3H. Head, hand, and heart, 3H. The 3H of human beings are absolutely unique in comparison to other animals. The reason being, our head is creative, hand is constructive, and heart is compassionate. That's the reason why we all are sitting here actually. So we can think a lot of things, we can do a lot of things, we can produce many things which may be definitely or certainly productive, or for the betterment of the society we can do many things. But in course of time, we may commit some mistakes. But those mistakes are to be well taken care of. Because committing mistakes is our nature. Confessing mistake is our culture. And correcting mistakes is our stature. So if we make it Odia, in Odia is Bodhiya, there is no doubt actually. Because Professor Pareda started telling very nicely in Odia. Also Professor Samanto, Achyuta Samanto also spoke very nicely. If we make it Odia, in Odia, भूल करिबा होची आमर प्रकृति, भूल मानिबा होची आमर संस्कृति कि आम बेले मानुनु, बहुत समय मानुनु भूल करी आम पिला माने बेसी भूल करछन जो मानू संशोधन करी होनी। तो भूल करिबा होची आमर प्रकृति, भूल मानिबा थिला आमर संस्कृति अछि कि नै वर्तमान कहि परिबेनी, एवं भूल संशोधन करिबा होची आमर प्रगति। So if you really want powerful development of the country, we have to look at our mistakes. There may be strong failure actually. So failure is never a failure, because failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is, in my opinion, Professor Nandasar, as if he learns mathematics appropriately, failure is very close to success. So that we have to keep in mind, because so many times in so many ways we may commit mistakes. But when we prepare something for development, we should plan something, we should prepare something, we should practice something, and we should, perform accordingly. 4P. And because of this 4P, plan, prepare, practice, or practice and perform. This particular institute like KIIT Deemed to be University is a world-class university and well-known university in the whole world. That is because of 4D. That is because of 4D. First D is dedication, determination, devotion, and fourth D is discipline. Because they manage the human resources, complicated human resources, so effectively, so powerfully, it is well managed in an automatic process. So that we should learn. Oh, madam, this is right, na? Okay, but we never do it. We have to do it actually. That exactly is education. Now, what is more important is, during this process, we have to see one thing. I'll conclude by telling one more sentence, and I should save the time of Professor Sasmita Samant. So, Vivekananda says, Swami Vivekananda says, everything is easy if we are busy. I repeat, everything is easy if we are busy, and nothing is easy if we are lazy. So, my dear teachers, my dear friends, we should keep ourselves busy and engaged. Obviously, there will be sustainability and everything will be fine. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your valuable thoughts with us. Moving on, we also have amongst us Professor Dr. Harihar Hota, the Vice Chancellor of Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Puri. He is also working as a professor of Sanskrit language in the Department of Vyakaran in the same university and holds more than 30 years of teaching experience. So may I humbly request you to kindly share a few words with us, sir, please.
लीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। परम सम्माननीय कीट विश्वविद्यालय प्रतिष्ठाता विश्वर जड़े आकाडेमिशियन भाव में प्रतिष्ठित करिथिबा निजको करि पारिथिबा श्रीयुक्त अच्युत सामंत महोदय तांको मोर विशेष भाव में साधुवाद। तांको स्वप्न को साकार करिया पई आज आम पाखे अछंती ए कीट विश्वविद्यालय स्वनामधन्य कुलपति प्रोफेसर सस्मिता मैडम महोदय तांको मो तरफ शुभेच्छा एवं यही विश्वविद्यालय अन्यतम प्रोफेसर परिडा सर तांको मध्य मो तरफ शुभेच्छा एवं ओडिशा ओपन यूनिवर्सिटी वाइस चांसलर AK दास महापात्र डायस रचंती एवं डायस रचंती आमर प्रोफेसर नागराजू गंगाधर मेहर यूनिवर्सिटी वाइस चांसलर एवं तांका पाखे रचंती आमर डायस रे प्रोफेसर प्रफुल्ल कुमार महांती महोदय खलिकोट यूनिवर्सिटी वाइस चांसलर खलिकोट यूनिवर्सिटी एवं परिशेष रचंती आमर दीपक सर प्रोफेसर दीपक कुमार बेहरा फॉर्मर वाइस चांसलर संबलपुर यूनिवर्सिटी नाउ इन KIIT यूनिवर्सिटी। ये समस्त मो तरफ अशेष अशेष साधुवाद कृतज्ञता सहित मो सामने बसी समस्त अनुष्ठान प्रिंसिपाल माने HOD माने एवं विभिन्न अध्यापक माने विभिन्न विषय अभिज्ञ स्नातक एवं बहु काम निजक प्रतिपादित कर आकाडेमिशियन समस्त को मो तरफ नमस्कार हार्दिक कृतज्ञता ज्ञापन करुँच। आपण माने आमे आज आलोचना करुचे वन डे सेमिनार जो KIIT विश्वविद्यालय रे जो जो वन डे सेमिनार दुई जनकर प्रचेषा चली KIIT विश्वविद्यालय प्लस आमर वर्ल्ड एकेडमिक जो लीडरशिप जो ये अच्छी संस्था अच्छी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अच्छी तेणु ये जो उभयंकर जो मिलित प्रचेषा जो कार्यक्रम होउची तार लक्ष्य होउची केवल जहाँ आम संस्कृत भाषा कहुई आगुरी कहुई आमर जो उपनिषद कहुई जो शिक्षार लक्ष्य होउची तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतम गमय। ये केवल सिम्बॉलिक लैंग्वेज रे कहुई ये जगत हूँ अंधकारमय ये अंधकार मध्य आलोक अच्छी से आलोक को पाइबापी जो सामर्थ्य दरकार से सामर्थ्य मत प्रदान कर तेणु से सामर्थ्य केवल एजुकेशन द्वारा आसपार तेणु से हूँ प्रथम आमर लक्ष्य एवं एजुकेशन आसला तापर आउ गोटे जिन आसब अमृत मृत्युर्मा अमृतम गमय अर्थात ये समग्र पृथ्वी हूँ मरणशील किंतु आ मध्य एक अमृत तत्व अच्छी जो अमृत तत्व को पाइबा मत समर्थ कराओ ये शिक्षार लक्ष्य दुईटी जे मत अंधकार रु आलोक प्रदान कर मुझे अंधार आलोकर अधिकारी हो पारि या सहित मरणशील पृथ्वी रे मु अमृतर संधान पाई पारि अमृत तत्व लाभ कर ये हूँ दुईटी शिक्षार लक्ष्य। आज आम बर्तमान मैडम कहते आम सामंत महोदय कहते मो मन पड़ूला आम पढ़ुले भारत वर्षर शिक्षा इतिहास विषय तक्षशिला विश्वविद्यालय थिला समग्र पृथ्वी को देखैथिला शिक्षार आलोक ता परवर्ती समय विक्रमशिला विश्वविद्यालय पृथ्वी की समग्र पृथ्वी आलोक देखैथिला तापर आसीथिला नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय जहाँ मध्य पृथ्वी का आलोक देखैथिला एवं आम ओडिशा मध्य कम नुहे ओडिशा मध्य पुष्पगिरी ललितगिरी नाम शिक्षार थिला संस्थान थिला विश्वविद्यालय थिला जे मत समग्र विश्व को आलोक देखैथिला आमे याकू इतिहास कथा शुणुथिले किंतु वास्तविक क्षेत्र में आज कीट विश्वविद्यालय ये तक्षशिला विश्वविद्यालय नालंदा विश्वविद्यालय एवं विक्रमशिला विश्वविद्यालय को अतिक्रम करके समग्र पृथ्वी एक नुआ अध्याय सृष्टि करिछि तेणु आम तरफर आम समस्त तरफर आपको साधुवाद ज्ञापन करने सहित अशेष अशेष आम शुभेच्छा ज्ञापन करवा आशीर्वाद समस्त हृदय अभ्यंतर आसवा दरकार ये विश्वविद्यालय आकाश को जाऊ ये समग्र विश्व को नुआ आलोक देखो सही तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतम गमय यही ध्येय मंत्र हो एक विश्वविद्यालय आज आम अनेक शिक्षित समग्र विश्व अच्छा किंतु समस्या हूँ अनेक ये समस्या आज लीडरशिप कथा कहते मैडम कहते जो लीडरशिप बर्तमान एजुकेशन एक लीडर एजुकेशन जो मैंने अच्छा चीफ अच्छा जो मैंने हेड अच्छा जो मैंने प्रिंसिपाल अच्छा जो मैंने कुलपति अच्छा समस्त गोटे लीडर हवा दरकार लीडरशिप आवश्यकता कौटी आसला तेणु आमको देखा पड़ो बर्तमान समग्र विश्व स्तर में 17 कोटी लक्ष्य स्थिर कराई जोड़ा कि समग्र विश्व में अभाव अच्छी आज विश्व में सबकि प्राचुर्य थिले 17टी अभाव समग्र विश्व स्तर में लक्ष्य कराई समस्या विशेषकर सब जिते प्रगति हेले ये समस्या दूरीभूत ना सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी आसपार ना तेना आम बर्तमान जो सोसाइटी अच्छू दैट इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी आवर एजुकेशन इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल आवर प्लेटफॉर्म इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल इवन आवर डेवलपमेंट इज नॉट सस्टेनेबल कहीं जो 17 कोटी अभाव लक्ष्य कराई समग्र विश्व स्तर में यही 17 कोटी अभाव को पूर्ण करने जदियो एजुकेशन 4 नंबर निहाई किंतु प्रत्येक बिंदु एजुकेशन आवश्यकता अच्छी प्रत्येक बिंदु से 17 कोटी जो अच्छी लक्ष्य रखाही कहुची सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स ये सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स समग्र आज किस आलोचना होनी ये समग्र पृथ्वी आलोचना हो समग्र एवं आलोचना हम चलो या परवर्ती समय ये 17 जो बिंदु पर समग्र पृथ्वी पार्थिव स्तर चलो आलोचना चलो से प्रथम हूँ पॉवर्टी खाली भारत वर्ष में कि ओडिशा पॉवर्टी ना समग्र पृथ्वी में पॉवर्टी अच्छी तेणु आपको विद्या द्वारा एजुकेशन द्वारा निर्मूल करवा ये हूँ प्रथम लक्ष्य तेणु ये हूँ माने 17 जो गोल्स अच्छी सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट गोल्स तार प्रथम गोल हूँ या तापर द्वितीय हूँ आज लोक निराहार रे बंचती आहार पाऊना तेणु खंडे खाइबा गंडे खाइबा लोक पाखे ना क्षमता ना आज ये विश्व अवस्था अच्छी ताकू जो पर्यटन आम उन्मूलन न कर निर्मूलन न कर तेणु सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी आनीपर ना जहाँ मैडम लास्ट रे कहले सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिन सर्वे सन्तु निरामया सर्वे भद्राणी पश्यन्तु माँ कश्चित दुख भाग ये जो सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट सोसाइटी सस्टेनेबल एजुकेशन सस्टेनेबल एवरीथिंग से मंत्र कहुई जो पर्यंत समस्त सुख न रे से पर्यंत आमे केवल सुखी हेले आम सुखटा ग्रहणीय हो पार ना से कंप्लीट सुख हो पार ना तेणु से ये सब प्रकार आज बर्तमान नंबर 2 नंबर 3 अच्छी जे आप गुड हेल्थ आज देखु केते लोक आज समस्त एजुकेशनिस्ट आम भितर जी लोक अच्छा भावुँ 80% लोक गुड हेल्थ नथिबे तेणु कहीं तार रिजन कौन आम पाखे से अभाव अच्छी आज यही अभाव रहिले जो पर्यंत ये अवेयरनेस ना एजुकेशन माध्यम आम केबे सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी कर ना तापर आसला 4th हूँ क्वालिटी एजुकेशन आज एजुकेशन रे समस्ते डिग्रीधारी अच्छा किंतु स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन स्किल्ड बेस्ड एजुकेशन जो आवश्यकता बर्तमान अच्छी समय अनुसार समय परिवर्तन क्रम जो आवश्यकता बढ़ुची ताकू मध्य हम देखिए गोटे कंटेम्परारी एवं जहाँ कहते मैडम जो आज टॉपिक रखा है रेलिवेंस एजुकेशन तेणु रेलिवेंट एजुकेशन कौन जहाँ समय परिवर्तन गति अनुसार जहाँ आवश्यकता पड़ुଛି तेणु आज स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन आज समय परिवर्तन तेणु आकु ये गोटे अभाव विश्व विराट अभाव तापर आसला फिफ्थ आसला जेंडर इक्वालिटी ये गोटे विराट अभाव आज समग्र आम समाज रे गोटे विराट प्रतिबंधक साजी गोटे विराट गोटे असुर भाया माड़ी आमको जेंडर इनइक्वालिटी जेंडर इक्वालिटी आम पाखे ना जहाँ मध्य आमर अमाप शक्ति मनुष्य पाखे अमाप शक्ति थे टीम स्पिरिट अभाव सी ध्वंस हो तेणु ये हूँ विश्व स्तर अभाव तेणु आपको एजुकेशन थ्रो रे आमको आने पड़ो समस्त लीडरशिप आम सब टीचर सबू अनुष्ठान मुख्य समस्त कुलपति समस्त को शपथ ना पड़ो ये शिक्षा मध्यम आमको गोटे ये विश्व को नुआ तैयारी पड़ो तेणु ये हूँ ये 17टा गोल से भाई आज लोकों पाखे पीवाई पानी ना आज समग्र विश्व स्तर में कौन से लोक सब क्लीन वाटर एवं पौष्टिक वाटर पाइबा दरकार तेणु ये हूँ संकल्प ये हूँ विश्व स्तर संकल्प ता सहित हूँ जे एनर्जी आज आम जो एनर्जी व्यवहार करुचे से एनर्जी इको फ्रेंडली नुहे तेणु आम जो एनर्जी बर्तमान इको फ्रेंडली एनर्जी आने पड़े क्या जो प्रकृति सहित प्रकृति को सुरक्षा देवा जो एनर्जी से एनर्जी आवश्यकता अच्छी तेणु ये अभाव आम जो पर्यंत आम समाधान करें से पर्यंत ये सस्टेनेबल सोसाइटी आम करें ना तेणु ये एवं समस्त को जॉब देवाई प्रत्येक शिक्षित लोक जेकोसी लोक भारत वर्ष में जेकोसी लोक सब से कम व्यस्त रहा दरकार जमी आमर प्राचीन सभ्यता थिला 4 वर्ण थिला चातुर्वर्ण्य मया सृष्टम गुणकर्म विभाग भगवद गीता कहुई 4 प्रकार जाति थिले आमर 4 प्रकार जाति थिले कर्म को नहीं समस्ते कर्म करेंगे बिना कर्म कहीं बचबे ना ये थिला आमर कॉन्सेप्ट ये प्राचीन जुग था आज मत सही कॉन्सेप्ट आसी आज समस्त कर्म दरकार आज प्रत्येक लोक जदि कर्म न पाइब ताले से तार डेवलपमेंट आसपर ना तेणु ये हूँ ये गोटे गोल तापर इंडस्ट्री इनोवेटिव इंडस्ट्री आज जो इंडस्ट्री देखुचे मैडम कहते आम एजुकेशन को इंडस्ट्री सहित कोलाबोरेशन करने तेणु कौ इंडस्ट्री सहित कोलाबोरेशन करवा जो इंडस्ट्री बर्तमान परिवेश को प्रदूषण करुच्ची ये समग्र विश्व को प्रयोजन करने लगी से इंडस्ट्री नुहे आज हूँ इको फ्रेंडली इंडस्ट्री या दरकार तेणु ये जो ये संकल्प ये अनेक जिनस अच्छी तापर सिटी लाइफ आज आप देखो आम भुवनेश्वर सिटी आम पुरी सिटी जो सिटी आम अच्छी भारत सब दिल्ली हूँ सब बेस्ट सिटी आम बर्तमान देखुचे सब राजधानी भाव में बेस्ट किंतु तार जो अवस्था आभ्यंतरीण जो अवस्था तार जो पवन अवस्था तार जो पानी अवस्था तार कारण कौन तार कारण हूँ आम मैंने तेणु ये आम इको फ्रेंडली आम सिटी लाइफ ना तेणु आपको चेंज करा पड़ो शिक्षा माध्यम तेणु ये हूँ विश्वस्तरीय चिंता खाली भारत वर्ष नुहे समग्र विश्व ये अवस्था आती तेणु ये हूँ विश्वस्तरीय चिंता तापर रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी कंजम्पशन प्रोडक्शन टू सेव द लाइफ ह्यूमन लाइफ कंजम्पशन आम जहाँ आज खाद्य ग्रहण करुचे आम जहाँ नौचे आम जो व्यवहार करुचे से केदूर स्वास्थ्यकारक केदूर हितकारक आम आम जीवन रक्षा पर केदूर समर्थ सी आपको चिंता करिया दरकार तेणु ये ना से जिनस ना तेणु से अभाव अच्छी ये समग्र विश्वस्तर चिंता तेणु आपको आमको देखा पड़ो तापर जो सामुद्रिक जीवन समुद्र तले जो रही शैवाल विभिन्न प्रकार जो आमको प्रचुर मात्रा माने ऑक्सीजन दौर आमको ताकू आम रक्षा करा दरकार तार प्रिजर्वेशन करा दरकार ताकू एजुकेशन माध्यम रक्षा करा दरकार ता सहित जो आमर विभिन्न जमी आमर संस्कृत भाषा कह जाए आब्रह्म कीट पर्यंतम समस्त ब्रह्ममयम जगत तेणु सबू पाखे जीव सत्ता अच्छी तेणु कीट पतंग ठार आरंभ कर सबू प्राणी मान मनुष्य सहित सब प्राणी बचे तेणु आपको आम एजुकेशन आने दरकार आपको अवेयरनेस आने दरकार तेणु ये जस्टिस एंड हेल्दी साइकोलॉजिकल आस्पेक्ट माने पीस एंड जस्टिस तो लास्ट कहुई पीस एंड जस्टिस एवं परिवेश सुरक्षा तेणु ये सबू जो 17टी गोल रखाई ये 17टी गोल हूँ विश्वस्तरीय गोल ये 17टी गोल को साकार करने आज लीडरशिप आवश्यकता पड़ी एजुकेशन माध्यम तेणु जो स्किल बेस्ड एजुकेशन माध्यम ये 17टा गोल को जब साकार कर ये प्लानेट ये जो आम पृथ्वी जो अच्छे ताहा एक सुंदर विश्व में परिणत हम एवं जहाँ आम वेदरे कह जाए मधुवाता ऋतायते मधु क्षरंती सिंधव माधीर्ण संतु सधी मधुनक्तम मृतशस मधु दौर स्तन पिता ये समग्र विश्व मधुमेह हो पार तेणु ये हूँ समग्र विश्वस्तर लक्ष्य आज से लीडरशिप आवश्यकता अच्छी और ये लीडरशिप पाइबापी ये लीडरशिप नापी केवल जड़े एजुकेशनिस्ट जड़े शिक्षाविद मानकर आवश्यकता अच्छी आज भावुची मैडम से ही उद्देश्य आज जो अनुष्ठान एवं सी अनेक अनुष्ठान को साहाय्य करुँच तेणु ये उद्देश्य हूँ से तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्युर्मा अमृतम गमय अर्थात बर्तमान विश्व मृत्यु आड़ को धाई ये पृथ्वी को रक्षा ये मनुष्य को रक्षा कर ना ये जो भाई परिवेश सृष्टि होची ये समस्त मनुष्य मृत्यु आड़ को धाई किंतु आ मध्य एक अमृत तत्व अच्छी ताहा शिक्षा माध्यम आम पाइपर तेणु से अमृत तत्व को पाइबापी आज आम आज मंथन करुचे विचार करुचे तेणु आज यही विचार करी मोर बाणी की विराम दौची जय तो भारतम जय हिंद वंदे मातरम।
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind yet extremely motivating words. We are extremely obliged, sir. Our next guest of honor, Professor Dr. Arka Kumar Das Mahapatra, before taking over as the Vice Chancellor of Odisha State Open University, was working in Sambalpur University as the senior most professor in business administration and the chairman of Postgraduate Council. Professor Das Mahapatra also has over 32 years of teaching and research experience to his credit. So may I request you to kindly address the gathering with your valuable words. Sir, please.
Good afternoon to you all. The Honorable Founder of KIIT and KIIS, Professor Achyut Samant in absentia. We all have listened to him, but for pressing engagement, he has to leave. The Honorable President of World Leadership Academy and also the Vice Chancellor of KIIT Deemed University, Professor Sasmita Samant, the keynote speaker at the same time. Professor Jayant Kumar Parida, the Director, School of Social, Financial and Human Sciences, KIIT, and the dais at the same time. The Honorable Guest of Honor, Professor N. Nagaraju, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Gangadhar Meher University, Professor P.K. Mohanty, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of KIIT University, Professor Harihar Hota, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Jagannath, Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, and also the Honorable Vice Chancellor of KIIS, Professor Deepak Kumar Behera. I think I'm through with all the dignitaries on the dais. And off the dais, the esteemed principals, educationists, and if not the principal, their authorized representation, the faculty and staff, as well as student and the volunteers of KIIT and KIIS, if they are present. At the very outset, I express my sincere thanks to the entire team of leaders of KIIT and KIIS University for inviting me to witness this inaugural session and also at the same time to participate in the inaugural session of the World Leadership Academy. Dear friends, having listened to the down-to-earth person, Professor Achyut Samant, and the
very, very distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Smita Samant, who were extremely elaborative in their respective domain to explain the very purpose of our assembling here, and also having listened to the three predecessors who have already spoken about the purpose again. Hardly perhaps there is anything left for me other than only to join hands with all my predecessors, all the speakers, and probably to pick up a few words from them to only mark my presence here for a brief period of about 10 minutes. Well, if many of you believe in the Hindu mythology, there was a competition between Ganesh and Kartikeya, saying that whoever makes a round of the world and reaches first will be the winner. And Kartik, you know therefore the story. Kartikeya made the whole circle, and Ganesh only made a round of Lord Shiva, who was therefore quick to do so. Probably I have a reason to place this story here, or the belief that everything boils down to education. Education actually takes the center stage. As my predecessors have also said about the sustainable development and the SDGs, the 17 SDGs, where the key to success, the key to achieving the ambitious 17 goals, sustainable development goals, is again education. And it is just not the education, it's the relevant education. Therefore, the topic has been very aptly chosen as relevant education for building a sustainable society. I once again said that I will not be certainly repeating many of the things which have already been spoken about, but let me take one of the immediate clue which Dr. Achyut actually said about the four formulae, out of which one he said, as I remember and I could note it down, is about the women empowerment. Let me focus here for a minute or so. What is the women empowerment, and what does actually, where do we start? Look, when I say we, I mean the whole globe. Particularly, there's a global gender gap index of 2021, which has been calculated based on four different components. One is the economic participation and opportunity, the educational attainment, there also education is there, health and the survival, and the political empowerment, especially with the participation of women with respect to all these four. And the composite index has been actually calculated, and 166 countries across the globe were ranked. And in that it is found that there is an overall gap of 32%. All the countries, the 166 countries taken together. And the pace at which we all are moving, it is estimated that it will take about 135.6 years more to bridge this gap. That is pretty a long time, long years, which means that we have to actually do something extra so that probably we can reduce the gap in a very, as fast as possible. And probably that is again possible by having the true kind of education. Coming to, in the same context, if we go into the women representation in the political, of the four components, as as I said, women representation in the political empowerment, the gap is 78%. And very interestingly, you find the figure that their representation in the parliament of all the 166 countries taken together, which has 35,500 seats, the women representation is only 26.1%. So 100% is 35,500 seats and only 26% is the representation. If you see the head of the countries as women head of the countries, you find at least there are 81 countries where there is no women representation in the head. And coming to the work composition of the workforce, particularly in Indian context, the gap is 72%, and only 22.3% of the women occupy or are actually employed in the particularly the formal sector. Well, that is the quick statistics with regard to women representation and therefore the gender gap. Quickly to see, I'm not going into many more. There are many other aspects also. Well, coming back to why education is so much so, and then why we talk about the relevant education. You know that countries are classified into developed, developing, and underdeveloped countries based on the Human Development Index, where India stands at 130 out of the about 193 countries who participate, or about 190 countries who participate in the indexing process. By providing the data, we find our India's position is 130. And here also, life expectancy, education, and income are the three broad parameters. So education again is finding a place here. There are many more. For example, the prosperity index, where again education is there based on 9 different components on which the index is calculated. There also education is a component, and India's position is 101. The ease of doing business, if you come across, India's position is 63. Innovative index, India stands at 46 out of the 132 countries who participated in the process. So this actually shows that India as a country has to do a much to reach at the global level. And across the globe, taken together, all the countries taken together, there are a lot of things to be done. And that can be possible through having proper, and as we call it, a relevant education. If I go into the broad sentence which describes was education for sustainable development, it says education that encourages changes in the knowledge, the skills, the values, and the attitude. And to make it relevant to problem solving, and my predecessors have also said about the whole globe, there are different kinds of problems that are in existence. The same problems may not be there in all the countries, but then different countries have different problems. But again, it has been visualized that education holds the key. So Madam Sasmita has actually spoken in detail about, you have seen the powerful PowerPoints, and so I will certainly not go into that. What I understand is that how to make the education relevant. Well, I'm very sure in this hall we have at least people, the teachers belonging to the science stream or humanities. Of course, there may not be some from the engineering and or purely technical education for that purpose, but even if they are, now what normally happens that if because like Sasmita Madam and Professor Parida here, I also belong to the discipline of commerce and management. So I say probably that my subject is great. Some of you in mathematics and physics, or for that purpose in English, as Professor Nagaraj was here, sometimes we feel that way. Though my subject is great. I'm not trying to pull anybody down. I'm also one among them. But what I'm trying to say is, can there be a commonalities where there will be a convergence that cutting across the different subjects, but still we have a common platform where the education can still be made relevant? Before coming to this particular, the dais rather, we were just talking in the green room. I think Professor Behra also participated, and we were talking about Professor Mohanty also. The basic etiquettes which we find is terribly missing in the society. May not be with all of us, but certainly we get disheartened when we find that desirable kind of behavior is not coming from the youngsters. It is not necessary that somebody folds hand before you and then say that he is courteous. Not necessarily so. But if we forget to respect our senior, even I have seen like elderly person come, and if you normally take a journey in the bus and train and people do not even offer a seat. Well, I might have, of course, let us not, I know time is precious, so let us not go beyond, to a certain limit for that purpose. But what precisely is therefore going to be relevant education? It is value-based, it is holistic, and I feel that there are certain components which are common for all subjects, like leadership, team building, motivation, and, of course, value education at the same time, the culture. And again, I find that if entrepreneurship education can be really popularized, that holds the key to many. Because that teaches us how to take risk, how to lead an organization, how to create employment for ourselves as well as for the next door neighbor, for that purpose. And entrepreneurship education is one that cuts across any specific discipline, whether it's science or for that purpose, or humanities or for management. Even I had proposed before an appropriate forum in the government that why can't we have entrepreneurship education? Say, for example, the basics of entrepreneurship at the particularly at the +2 level, fundamentals of entrepreneurship at the graduation level, and a bit of advanced entrepreneurship at the post-graduation level. In some forum I was attending, it said that this is about startup, and then government said that the government has got a specific department having money also to provide. Anybody comes forward with a startup with ideas, but the question is, who is going to come forward? How many of them? If we start teaching entrepreneurship or talk about, say, for example, the startup at the PG level, then students have only 2 years to think about. But if we start the same particular concept at the very entry into the early college, or for that purpose at the secondary school level, probably people have 6 years to think about entrepreneurship, and they can therefore frame a mind and then can think of becoming independent and creating something for themselves. Because when we talk about food, we talk about hunger, how we talk about income generation, how do we do it? So to this extent, therefore, my recommendation probably will be that we join hands together somewhere and we think of certain common programs, common courses, which will be common to all other subjects. And then probably we can take this academic agenda forward. And finally, before I stop, I will just bring one more point, and that's about the collaboration. We don't have infrastructure like what KIIT has built. Of course, We know in the government sector the difficulties that we actually face. Even if we have the vision, probably there are boundaries drawn for us, we cannot even exceed. So probably that is not the case in case of institutions like KIIT or KIIS. Well, as long as my university is concerned, the Odisha State Open University, the state is missing from that nameplate for that purpose. It's Odisha State Open University. We operate through study centers. We have our jurisdiction across the state. I'm sure some of the principals present here or the colleges having representations, maybe having the study centers, because we have now 89 study centers and 5 of them are in central jails and the rest are in different colleges. So we want to propagate the cause of education by taking it to the doorstep of the learners. And you'll be very happy to know that the youngest learner in my university is a 19-year-old person, and the eldest, rather the reverse, if I say the other way, the youngest is the 66 years old, and the oldest is the 19-year-old. So there is no age limit, and that is what we call universalization of the education, and we call education for all at all ages for that purpose, because education is a lifelong experience. Therefore, and we have both the model, the ODL as well as the open learning system, and therefore, when it comes to collaboration, I simply invite you that send this message, disseminate this message among the students under you, that they are free to take any course online, free of cost, but only they have to pay a nominal fee of about 500 rupees if they want to hold a certificate towards the examination. Otherwise, anybody can read. And that is one way that we can reach up to every one of you and the learners free of cost. And there are varieties of subjects which are available online. Not that this university alone, in fact, you have this MOOCs also is platform is there. And therefore, let us not have a boundary for ourselves with regard to learning. So let us join hands together to see that we really take the education forward, and rather we make it more relevant. Let us encourage the students to choose the subject and the learning process that the student or the learner will be more happy to do. So with these words, thank you all for having a patience listening, and thank you the organizer for inviting me to share my thought. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words and suggestions. Last but definitely not the least, we have amongst us Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Behra, the esteemed Vice Chancellor of KIIT Deemed University, as our guest of honor. Prior to joining KIIS, he served as the Vice Chancellor of Sambalpur University, Berhampur University, and as the first Vice Chancellor of Rajendra University, Balangir. He is the recipient of the prestigious Sarath Chandra Roy Memorial Gold Medal by the Asiatic Society, Kolkata, the oldest educational institution in Asia, for his outstanding contribution in the field of cultural anthropology in India. Sir, may I request you to kindly adorn this event with your wise words. Sir, please.
Good afternoon. As the last speaker, hopefully you will lend your ears to me for 10 minutes. Is it okay? Honorable dignitaries on the dais, founder of KIIT and KIIS, Professor Dr. Achyuta Samant, in absentia, he is not here. And we have heard him delivering the inaugural lecture, and the Honorable Vice Chancellor of KIIT Deemed to be University, Professor Dr. Sasmita Samant, who also delivered the keynote address, Professor N. Nagaraju, my dear friend, Professor Prafulla Kumar Mohanty, Professor Hariyar Hota, Professor A.K. Dasmapatra, and all educational leaders sitting in the front. And it's a very special day for me. The reason being, I see at least 20-25 known faces, during my tenure as Vice Chancellor of the 3 universities, I must have visited at least 100 colleges, and I have seen the ground realities. And I know the current scenario where the college stands, and also, the need of the hour. So nothing is permanent. So what is permanent? Permanent change is the only permanent thing in life. So you are all leader, okay? No, we are talking about educational leader, and I must congratulate KIIT Deemed to be university for organizing this particular one-day seminar on relevant education for building sustainable society. So I divide the whole thing into 3 parts, like sustainable society, relevant education, and the leaders, educational leaders. Okay, these are 3 important themes. And then leader, who is a leader? Come on, there are 6 alphabet in leader. Let us do a stock taking. Am I a good leader? Am I a good educational leader? It starts with L, alphabet L. Do I lead from the front? Leading from the front. Okay, do I do that? So when there is a failure, do I shoulder up the responsibility? When there is success, do I push forward my teammates saying that that is their achievement? This is leadership quality. I talk about L. And the second one is E, energetic and efficient. Are you energetic and efficient to discharge your responsibility as a leader? Let us ask this question to ourselves, We are talking about relevant education and sustainable society. Do I do that? And A, the third alphabet is A. Because Professor Mohanty played with number games. I thought I should do something different. I am playing with alphabets, like A, attitude. Do I have the right kind of attitude to lead the institution, providing educational leadership? My attitude is very important as a, academic leader. So if I am a demotivated person, how can I see my faculty as motivated? If my faculties are demotivated, how can they deliver? How can they motivate my students? So that is how attitude is very important. L-E-A, then D. Am I determined, decisive, definite? A good leader should be determined, definite, and decisive. Do I possess all this quality as educational leader? Stock taking. You can treat anyone and everyone in the world, but not your conscience. Ask this question to your conscience. Am I very determined where I am posted as a leader? Maybe director IQAC, maybe principal, maybe head of the department. And then the next one is, what is that? R, I think. L-E-D-E-R. Ready to learn. Am I a quick learner? Do I learn from my mistake? Am I a quick learner? So these are 3 things, you please ask this question to yourself. It's a self-assessment time. And then sustainable society. Relevant education, I will come to later on. What is a sustainable society? I have taken a quote. I don't know who has given this quote. This is I place it before the House for consideration. A sustainable society is one in which we do not damage the environment or overuse resources, and is therefore able to leave a beautiful earth that future generation can continue to inhabit. This is the definition of a sustainable society, and how education, relevant education, can achieve this goal, what I said as a sustainable society. There are 21 indicators, what is known as SSI, Sustainable Society Indicators, and those have been clubbed under 3 headings. One is human well-being, environmental well-being, and economic well-being. I'm not going to detail into that because there is a scarcity of time constraint. But I shall feel in my duty, if I don't speak a little bit about my institution, how it's very important for the educational leader to innovate, to do out-of-box kind of thinking. Otherwise, if you don't innovate, you cannot be a good leader. So it's very, very essential to be innovator. You see, Dr. Achyuta Samanta. So in KIIS, what he has done, I would give you some example. Now, it's a institution for Adivasi children, We have 30,000 Adivasi children, free education, free lodge, free board. Everything is free there. And how we have brought innovation. Now we have introduced a concept, professor of practice. Professor of practice is an unlettered person. He doesn't have any formal education, but he is a respectable person in his community. She or he knows the trade secret. He may be a traditional healer. He may be a Sora painter. And she may be a Dhamsa dancer. And they will come to our campus and teach our student. Because cultural continuity is very important. Relevant education, when I say this cultural continuity is to be maintained, especially in a case like KIIS, where tribal students are there. So their traditions should be protected. And this is innovation. And what we do now, we have a tribal advisory council. Tribal advisory council keeps on giving suggestion. And I'm not a member of tribal advisory council. All the members are from Adivasi background. They keep on suggesting. And we have a board of management, whatever they approve, we implement it. And again, we have a working committee on, for the preservation, promotion, and protection of cultural heritage and diversity. So, dear friends, colleagues, we have to bring in innovation in our education. It should be out-of-box thinking. And, what is important, again, everybody, because especially our keynote speaker, Professor Dr. Sasmita Samant, has given, exhaustive description of the new education policy, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor Hariyar Hota, has talked about the 17 SDG goal. How do you integrate SDG goal into our course curriculum? And student engagement is very, very important. Many times we keep them in the 4 walls of the room. No, we cannot afford to do that. We have to find out mechanism for community engagement of the student. And what way my institution has contributed to the local community, to the local area. This question should be addressed. I have served as a visiting professor in best of the best university, maybe 7 universities in Europe and America. And I have also visited, 100 colleges, Mopsalia colleges, and I have seen both the worlds. So sometimes, we feel demotivated, they say that, look at my lab, sir, how can I conduct practicals? I don't have classroom. And there is shortage of teacher. So I'm hard pressed, fine. But even then, you have human capital, you have locally available resources. Please, try to use them. And, when you are, under an adverse situation, you will deliver. and you will be a good leader. Believe me. This I tell from my experience, and maybe after that I will stop. This is my experience of Barampur University. So after my joining in 1.5 month, filing, there was a filing. The eye of the storm landed in Rongelunda, where the university is located. So everything got destroyed. Then I was in I was a visiting professor at Tübingen University, Dart fellow, Dart professor, and I came and joined. So I thought, this is high time I must leave, quit this university and go back to my native university, Sambalpur. But again, rethinking. And I thought God has given me an opportunity to rebuild this university and take this growing university to still greater height. I, slowly gathered the confidence of student, teachers, research scholar, employees. Everyone started cooperating me. And it was a teamwork, collective effort. And, we fought. 21 days we opened the universities. No electricity, nothing. Ladies hostel wall all broken. And, I received cooperation from every quarter. Then we decided we'll go for NAC accreditation. And we went for that. Many people said, no, don't do that. That will, you'll ruin your academic career. I said, no, I will do it. Because I received cooperation and we did it, and we became the first university in Odisha, state-funded university to secure A grade, much before Utkal and much before Sambalpur. This is possible when, you provide the right platform, and you should be a good motivator. Sometimes your teachers are demotivated, and so that is how you have to do, and you have to also update your knowledge. NEP 2020, Madam went on speaking about NEP 2020, National Education Policy 2020. How many of us are completely aware of NEP 2020 provision? Yes. I will conclude in a minute. So it's very important to know about SDG goal. It's very important to know about NEP 2020 principle. And then only we can integrate and make our education relevant. And thank you very much. And thanks for lending your to the last speaker.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable words. Moving on, Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology is actively engaged in signing MOUs with various reputed institutions for the all-round development of the university as well as the society. So keeping up with the tradition, may I now request our beloved Vice Chancellor Ma'am, Professor Sashmita Samanta, and Professor Dr. Jain Kumar Parida, Director of KSFH, to kindly begin with the MOU signing process. Sir, please.
चौदह वर्षर किट यूनिवर्सिटी किसी जानिबा पूर्व महाद्रुम परिणत हो जाए 56टी देशर 1600 विदेशी छात्रों को नहीं 25,000 शेड्यूल ट्राइब पिला गाँ गहलू गरीब देश उठेक आनी LKG रु PG पर्यंत मागणारे शिक्षादान करिछि बहुत आशायी मानक आश्रित करिछि बहुत स्पोर्ट्स पर्सनल मानक आनी ओलंपियान रे मध्य प्रस्तुत करी छाड़िछि केते गरीब पिला आ द्वारा उपकृत होइचंती ताहा वर्णना नुहे एबे वर्ल्ड लीडरशिप एकेडमी तरफरु एवं किट विश्वविद्यालय सहयोग रे किट विश्वविद्यालय अनेक कॉलेज एवं विश्वविद्यालय सहित बुझामणा पत्र स्वाक्षर करुछि उद्देश्य हला रिसर्च पब्लिकेशन रे सहाय करिबा स्टाफ स्टूडेंट एक्सचेंज प्रोग्राम करिबा लाइब्रेरी लैब एवं एकेडमिक सपोर्ट मध्य जोगै दबा मागणा रे फ्री ऑफ कॉस्ट मु कहय चाहूछि एवं एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव सपोर्ट मध्य दउछि तापरे collaboration with KIIT and KIIS, and the last one is NAC support. ମୁଁ ଏଠି କହିଦେବାକୁ ଚାହେଁ ଯେ ଯେଉଁମାନେ ନ୍ୟାକ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି, ନ୍ୟାକ୍ରେ ଆକ୍ରିଡେସନ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ଚାହୁଁଛନ୍ତି, ଆଜିର ଏଇ MOU ତାଙ୍କୁ ପାଖାପାଖି 50 ମାର୍କର ସହାୟତା ହେବ। ଏକରେ ହେଉଛି ରିସର୍ଚ୍ଚ ଡେଭଲପମେଣ୍ଟ, ଷ୍ଟୁଡେଣ୍ଟ ଏକ୍ସଚେଞ୍ଜ, ଟିଚର୍ସ ଏକ୍ସଚେଞ୍ଜ, କୋଲାବୋରେସନ୍, ଲାଇବ୍ରେରୀ, ଆହୁରି ଅନେକ ଅଛି। ତେଣୁ ଆଜି ପାଇଁ ଆଜି ଏଇ ଦିନରେ 25ଟି କଲେଜ ଆଗେଇ ଆସିଛନ୍ତି। ମୁଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଅନୁରୋଧ କରିବି, ସେ ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପାଲ ଯଦି ଅଛନ୍ତି ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପାଲ ଏବଂ ତାଙ୍କର ଯଦି କିଏ ସହଯୋଗୀ ଥାନ୍ତି ଆସି ଜଣେ ପରେ ଜଣେ ଶୀଘ୍ର MOU କରିଦେବେ। ପ୍ରଥମେ ମୁଁ ଡାକୁଛି ସରବରା ଓମେନ୍ସ ଅଟୋନମସ୍ କଲେଜ କଟକକୁ ଏବଂ ମୁଁ ଆମର ଭାଇସ୍ ଚାନ୍ସେଲର ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମଙ୍କୁ ରିକ୍ୱେଷ୍ଟ କରୁଛି ସିଏ MOU କରିବେ। ଶୀଘ୍ର ଦସ୍ତଖତ नेक्स्ट कमला नेहरू वुमेन्स कॉलेज भुवनेश्वर। Oh, thank you. Next, please. शीघ्र जा सपद स्टाफ के तो अभी कुटिया। नेक्स्ट NC कॉलेज ऑटोनमस कॉलेज जाजपुर। प्रिंसिपल का संगे जदि अन्य स्टाफ था आसी पारती। NC ऑटोनमस कॉलेज एकुटी नेक्स्ट सीताराम महाविद्यालय जाजपुर। सीताराम कहीदेवे आपण फाउंडर କଲେଣି କୁହନ୍ତୁ ସେଥିପାଇଁ କୁହନ୍ତୁ କରିଦେବେ ସେଥିପାଇଁ। नेक्स्ट चरंपा कॉलेज भद्रक। चरंपा कॉलेज भद्रक, principal and the staff. आस एपटे आस बाहर पढ़े देखते देवाशीष नेक्स्ट नयागढ़ प्रजामंडल महिला महाविद्यालय नयागढ़। बस पूरा तीन जन मैडम तीन जन महारथी पूरा फटो दे दब व्यस्त हो सब फटो पठेब। तीन महारथी नेक्स्ट कुंतला कुमारी सावत वुमेन्स कॉलेज बालेश्वर। कौन है नेक्स्ट SBM कॉलेज जगतसिंहपुर। SBM College Jagatsinghpur, next Sadhu Gaudeshwar Degree College Jajpur, HE College Jajpur. Jan. Shikra. Next, Upendranath Sharada Degree Mahavidyalaya Jajpur, please. Next, Subhadra Mahata Mahavidyalaya Katak. ଫଟୋ ଦେଇଦେବ ଆପଣ ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ। କହିଲେନି ଆସ କରୁନାହାନ୍ତି ସେଠି ଯାଇକି ଫଟୋ କରିଦେବେ। ଆଚ୍ଛା ଯୋଉ କହିଲେ ଆପଣ କହିବାକୁ ହଁ କହିଦେବେ ଅଛି କରିଦେବେ। ସୁଭଦ୍ରା ମହତାବ କଲେଜ, ନେକ୍ସଟ ଅଛି ଯେତିକି ଅଛି କରିଦିଅନ୍ତୁ ଶୀଘ୍ର ଶୀଘ୍ର କରିଦେବ। ସୁଭଦ୍ରା ମହତାବ କଲେଜ, नेक्स्ट रीजनल डिग्री कॉलेज रामबाग, रीजनल डिग्री कॉलेज रामबाग, नेक्स्ट डेराबिस कॉलेज केंद्रापड़ा, डेराबिस कॉलेज, रीजनल डिग्री कॉलेज कहीं नहांती की रीजनल डिग्री कॉलेज एब्सेंट, डेराबिस कॉलेज केंद्रापड़ा पछुआ से देन सत्यसाई कॉलेज फॉर वुमेन, सत्यसाई कॉलेज फॉर वुमेन, आस हाँ टिक से कर दियंते आस नेक्स्ट अटल बिहारी कॉलेज भद्रक, अटल बिहारी कॉलेज भद्रक, एडा टिके टिके पछुआ से हाँ से था से जाना सरी गला हाँ एसएन कॉलेज राजकनिका, एसएन कॉलेज राजकनिका, ଏଇପଟକୁ ଆସ ମ୍ୟାଡ଼ାମ୍ ଏଇଠି ଯାହା ତାଙ୍କ ପରେ ଏଇଟା କିଏ ରାଜସ୍ଥାନଙ୍କର ପିଇଟି ସେ ପିଇଟି ରିଟାୟାର୍ଡ କରିଗଲେ ନା ଆଉ କିଏ ଏବେ କିଏ ନାହାନ୍ତି Then SCB Degree College, Mayurbhanj. SCB Degree College, Mayurbhanj. Asan. Asan da. ये सम्मान पैसा तो ना इतने लोग क्या कर Mangalpur Women's College, Jajpur. Next, Mangalpur Women's College, Jajpur. No. Madam Minaki Mishra, Principal. Next, Utkaramani Gopabandhu Smriti Mahavidyalaya. Mangalpur absent. Mangalpur? अच्छा दिया अच्छा दिया हाँ ये देव समथिंग करके आम जेर कपिटा रही आम गोटे कर Security Degree College, Mayurbhanj. स्वतंत्र व्यवस्था सबू करके सुविधा मिलती आवेल कर करवा कथा और नेक्स्ट जनता कॉलेज 7 माइल ଆପଣ ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ। ଫଟୋ ପଠେଇଦେବେ, ବ୍ୟସ୍ତ ହୁଅନ୍ତୁ, ଯାହା କୁହନ୍ତୁ ଉଠେଇ ଦିଅନ୍ତୁ, ନହେଲେ ମୁଁ ପଠେଇଦେବି। ଯାଆନ୍ତୁ, ଡେରି କରନ୍ତୁ। कॉलेज ऑफ आर्ट्स साइंस टेक्नोलॉजी सुंदरगढ़। ଆଉ କଣ ଆପଣ କହିଲେ ଶୀଘ୍ର କର, ଡେରି କର। हाँ 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 कौन नहीं गलत हाँ नहीं रखी था हम करके दबो हम फोल्डर दबो देन एचएनएस महाविद्यालय केन्द्रापड़ा एचएनएस महाविद्यालय केन्द्रापड़ा आप दे दो रखी खाई सारा पर क्या अच्छी नेक्स्ट राजा मधुसूदन देव डिग्री कॉलेज खोर्धा आसन प्लीज जा आसन परेश मैडम हाँ हाँ आसन ऊपर परेश ତାଙ୍କରି କଲ। नेक्स्ट एनके डिग्री महाविद्यालय अनुगुल। शीघ्र ଆଉ ଡେରି କର। राजा मधुसूदन देव अनुगुल बल लेखी ना दियंतु मैडम पढ़ के देखो फोल्डर दो। नेक्स्ट तालचेर ऑटोनॉमस कॉलेज तालचेर। एनके डिग्री महाविद्यालय बालंडा। नेक्स्ट तालचेर ऑटोनॉमस कॉलेज। वुमेन्स डिग्री कॉलेज पहला खेमुंडी। आसुन पहला खेमुंडी आसुन। वैकुंठनाथ कॉलेज। प्रिंसिपल तो हाँ चलो
SJKM Puri. SJKM Puri.
आओ थाओ मैडम मना कर हाँ करिवे हाँ तो ना तो
SJKM Puri को लागू
आर करे कौन
SJKM
देखिए एते कथा अपन वो संस्कृत महर्षि कॉलेज महर्षि कॉलेज प्रिंसिपल असिस्टेंट मैडम नेक्स्ट एकाम्र कॉलेज नेक्स्ट रॉयल कॉलेज भद्रक लास्ट दे दो मैडम रेस्ट The last one is SJKM Puri. हाँ ଆପଣ ନା କଣ କହିବ ହଁ ସେଇ କଥା ମୁଁ କହୁଛି ବୁଢା ହେଇଗଲେଣି କେତେ ଦିନ ପରେ ଭେଟୁଛି ଯେଉଁ ଯେଉଁ କଲେଜ ମାନେ ବୁଝାମଣା ପତ୍ର ସ୍ୱାକ୍ଷର କଲେ ଠିକ୍ ଲଞ୍ଚ ପରେ ପରେ ସେ କପି ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ମିଳିଯିବ, ଦୟାକରି ଆସି ସଂଗ୍ରହ କରିନେବେ।
Thank you so much, everyone. Lastly, I would like to request Professor Dr. Chinmay Kumar Manigrahi, the Director of Quality Assurance Cell of our university, and the Joint Secretary of WLA to kindly deliver the word of thanks. Sir, please.
So, very good afternoon, one and all present here. So, on behalf of World Leadership Academy, on behalf of KIIT University, I extend my thanks, heartfelt thanks to all the participants, academic leaders who have joined within a very short notice to make this function a grand success. Many, many thanks to all the principals, and please make a big hand for all the participants. So next, all the dignitaries on the dais. Professor N. Nagaraju, Vice Chancellor, Gangadhar Meher University. Thank you, sir, for your kind presence. And we are very happy within very short notice through just phone conversation, sir has come. Professor Dr. Prafullo Kumar Mahanti, Vice Chancellor, Kolikot University, sir. Thank you, sir. And sir is the first person to join to this function today, very early. Sir, thank you, sir, for coming. Professor Dr. Harihar Hota, Vice Chancellor Sri Jagannath Sanskrit Vishwavidyalaya, Puri. Thank you, sir. So, sir has shared a very good experience. What is required for the present society, for the students' community, and also faculty fraternity. It is a very nice, full, informative. Professor Dr. Ark Kumar Das Mahapatra, sir. Sir has elaborated very strongly how the open sources distance education is now creating a very vibrant bridge between irrespective of the age. That's a very good, sir. Then Professor Dr. Deepak Kumar Behera, Vice Chancellor, KIIT Deemed University, sir. Thank you, sir, for coming. And thank you, our honorable founder, in his absentia, Professor Dr. Achyuta Samanta, without his kind support and guidance, and he's always the mentor of this type of activities. And sir, from day one till date, sir has made a very good guidance to make this function a grand success. Our Vice Chancellor, Madam, Professor Dr. Sasmita Samanta, Madam. Madam had just 2 days before, Madam was very important activities to move to foreign, London, to very busy schedule. And from London also, Madam has guided very nicely to our team, our Prashant Patnaik sir, Professor Pradeep Malik, our Jyoti, and all the district coordinators very nicely. And every time she is very, very positive. Just she is asking us how many people are coming. So thanks to all the district coordinators for calling, for inviting you. And some colleges, they are due to shortage of bond paper, it was not there. Please give me the list, we can contact you, we'll make a separate session for this MOU. And another announcement, our panel discussion just after this launch, it is, and others are, panel discussion is for the time being, it is cancelled. And hands-on training about this library issue, that is a very important session taken by our library, and that is a distributor and also the publishers, very, very important session, and very, for all the participants also, it is very important that the campus visit our international library, you see the library building, you see the keys just at 4 p.m. We have made all the arrangement. And again also we will give you distribution of the certificate just before this. So now I request you, all the participants, just to move to for launch. This is for this left side and middle. Please go to kindly go to banquet hall, and this side, right side, please come to Kunjaban. I request all our vice chancellor guests kindly come to banquet hall. Thank you.